The Truck Series title fight is ramping up as the season winds down. With 2 races to go, the young firecracker is surging. The veteran is clinging to hope, while the battle among the top 2 has tightened. Can the steady rookie catch the flashy points leader? Tonight, the men battling for the hardware hope their championship chances do not dry up in the desert. This track underwent a transformation in early 2011. There is no better way to see it than from the top of Rattlesnake Hill. 1,158 feet above Phoenix International Raceway. It is tonight's home for the setup. Hello, everyone. I'm Krista Voda. Welcome to what has become my home away from home. For the last several years, we have been trekking up Rattlesnake Hill. Why? Because look around. No other view in racing quite compares. But as I mentioned, the trucks haven't been to this track since before it was dug up and resurfaced. So add mystery to the drama of the championship chase. We have not 2, but 4 drivers still alive in this title fight. Get to know them a little bit closer right now. Parker Kligerman. He has won. He has been on a full head of steam ever since his win a couple of weeks ago. He did everything but win last week's race, finishing second to Johnny Sauter. With drives like that, he is keeping his name in the title talk, just 2 points behind Timothy Peters. But Peters could be the spoiler. He's 25 points out of the lead. His 2 wins this year have come on short tracks at Iowa and Bristol. While Phoenix isn't considered a short track, it's a 1-mile layout that plays to Timothy's strengths. Up front, Ty Dillon is a man on a mission. He is 6 points closer to the lead than he was last week. He is all but locked up Rookie of the Year, but Ty qualified back in 21st tonight. Dillon has 2 top 5s in the K&N series here, but he's never raced a truck here. Now, technically, James Busher hasn't either. Yes, Busher's been to Phoenix, but he missed this race last year with a DNQ, meaning he has never seen the new surface either. And a closer look at the contenders. Busher finished outside the top 10 last week for the first time in nearly 2 months. Dillon has been the most consistent. Peters has had a season of both wins and consistency. Kligerman, talking about scoring that first win a few weeks ago, full steam ahead ever since. Now all 4 put their fate in the hands of Phoenix. But what makes this race even more special, we are back to where it all began. The very first Truck Series race was held here in 1995. I know Ray Dunlap and Hermie Sadler remember that race. Mike Skinner won it, and he won the title. But our contenders, most of them, were barely born then, Ray.
Absolutely, Krista, but this racetrack always has big implications when we start talking about the championship, and I'm with a couple of drivers from Red Horse Racing, starting off with Parker Kligerman. And are you even thinking about points tonight, or is it just go get another win?
No, it's about winning, but we got to lead laps, we got to win, and that's the only way we'll put ourselves back in position, or even a closer position going into Homestead and make this championship fight very interesting. But, you know, we have a fast Camp Horse around Toyota Tundra here. We were really fast in practice last night on old tires. I think we were the only ones that ran our tires both practices, first on average. So I don't think, obviously we didn't qualify quite as well. We're 7th, but we're 7th in the 7th truck, or 7 truck. So does that bode well?
I'm not sure what all that means, but I do wish you good luck, and his teammate is Timothy Peters. My question to you is, do you go out and race these final 2 events thinking at all what the 3 and the 31 are doing, or you just do your own thing?
We just do our own thing. Butch and I were just talking a minute ago, and it's the most bonus points we can get and try to get that win these last 2. Yes, you know, as far as like mathematically we're still in it, but we got to do a lot more to really feel like that we're a part of this going into Homestead next week. So we are a part of it. Everybody at Red Horse Racing has done an awesome job. Can't thank Tom DeLoach, Toyota, everybody what they've done for the season that we've had. So we got a really good Tundra for tonight here at Phoenix, probably the best that I've had in a long time since coming here. So I'm excited about tonight.
All right, we wish you good luck. That's Timothy Peters. Those are the 2 drivers from Red Horse, and now we want to hear from the front 2 contenders. They're standing by with Hermie Sadler.
Well, Ray, I got both the other 2 championship contenders. We'll start with James Busher, the points leader. You're potentially 2 races away from a championship. Do you feel any different coming to the racetrack these last couple weeks than from a regular weekend?
In some ways, but you know, we have to keep doing things the way we have been all year. That's what got us to this point. That's what got us in the point lead, and we just need to continue business as usual and go out there and try to get the most points. You know, that the way to get the most points is to win the race. So we're going to get up front and try to go for the win, and try to add another one to our season this year. But overall, it's been a great season for my 31 team in Turner Motorsports, and our XR battery Chevy's fast tonight. So I thought we were going to be able to qualify a little bit better. Didn't pick up as much speed as I thought we would from practice, but still really happy with the way the truck's driving in race trim. So looking forward to tonight for sure.
And chasing James Busher is Ty Dillon. Now I'm a little worried about this because he may not come across like this on TV, but this guy's a little bit of a practical joker, and you've got some Duplicolor spray paint in your hand, and I'm not sure what you're going to do with that.
Some Duplicolor tire shine. It lasts 5 times longer than all the other products. So if you want to keep your tires shining, go out and find you some Duplicolor. It's a great product. Maybe I'll spray it on some of these guys in front of us so I can get by them. We had a bad qualifying effort. Just overshot the corner a little bit, and the track's so narrow here. The groove's really narrow with the way this desert is out here in Phoenix. So got out of the groove and really hurt our laps. But our Bass Pro Shop Chevy's really fast. So they say that most races have been won out of the top 4, so we're going to change that tonight and go get some points and hopefully win the championship too.
That's Ty Dillon. He will start 21st, trying to chase down that 31. Krista?
I know, Hermie, a tough starting spot for Ty. But then you look at the other 3, Kligerman, Peters, Busher, they all qualified together, 7th, 8th, and 9th. This battle is going to be good. Still to come here on The Setup. One of the future stars of the sport is back. But he has raced here in other series. We tagged along with Ryan Truex. What is he up to here in Phoenix?
Coming up next on the Speed Spotlight, Martin Truex Jr., superstar and better-looking younger brother.
Oh, how about that? And Ryan's a great example of the new face of the Camping World Truck Series. It has changed a lot from how it used to be. The next Kevin Harvick's and Tony Stewart's, they are right here on this track in this series tonight, and so is our next champion. Busher is leading the points for the very first time.
Ty Dillon does what he has to do. He gains points. Timothy Peters is indeed a title contender.
Now, I'm not so convinced we need to sleep on Parker Kligerman.
In the Truck Series, no point lead is safe.
This thing can swing wide open in a snap. While the Camping World Truck Series Championship continues to dangle like a carrot for those in line, one of our drivers has already claimed his title. Last week, Kyle Larson became the 2012 K&N East Series champion. Kyle is back in a truck for just the 3rd time in his career. He has finished in the top 10 in both of those starts. He starts 6th tonight. The last 17 years have provided plenty of great moments like thrilling race finishes and epic championship battles, but lately it hasn't been these guys, rather the up-and-comers who have been stealing the headlines. Ever since the very first truck race, which by the way happened right here in Phoenix, the series has been identified by experience. But 3 of our 4 title contenders this year under the age of 22. And one barely in his 30s. Oh my, how the times and this series are a-changing.
Sprague wins the race, but Ron Hornaday wins the championship. The 2 of them salute each other.
It's Rick Crawford making the pass, and Crawford wins the Daytona 250. That's what I'm talking about, truck race.
I always called it the senior tour of NASCAR. First ones was Mike Skinner, Ron Hornaday, Jack Sprague, Ted Musgrave, Joe Rutten. When I started racing, I was already a 15-year veteran of the short tracks. And the truck series was started to be a truck series. It was not a building block to go to the Nationwide Series or the Cup Series. So we raced and we built the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
Owners wanted to hire somebody with experience. There was no such thing as development driver. There was no such thing as youth movement or anything. It was all about, you have experience and I want you to drive my truck. We want to win now.
Mike Bliss becomes the 2002 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion.
We just sat and raced our tail off and loved the series we were in. And then if something came up, we moved up.
Hammer, show us your championship moves.
When I got in the Truck Series at the time, I looked around and said, man, I've been missing this for years. I should have got here a long time ago. Naturally, I wanted to go win the championship because I didn't do it in the Cup Series. It's like, okay, somewhere in NASCAR, I want to come home with a ring and a big championship trophy.
After all that time of trying, he is a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion.
Something about the trucks that just suited my style.
The Truck Series must have been a place where drivers could come back, sort of end their career, run their career down a little bit, but at the same time have fun racing and still go out on a high note.
Crossing the start-finish line, 3 in a row for Benson.
We've always had veteran drivers, and I think you know over the years they've always dominated. There was one year, 2007, where all the top 10 were over 30 years old, and now this year our first-time winners in the series have a combined average age of 22. So that's a really big fundamental shift from what was really primarily a veteran series.
Over the last I'd say 3 years, it's become much more competitive with the younger kids coming into it. We've kind of continued the legacy of the veteran drivers and maybe brought a new energy to it.
Beginning the Truck Series, there's a lot of the NASCAR veterans were the drivers in it. They put those guys in the seats to develop the series. Now that the series is so renowned and developed, owners are starting to develop their drivers in the series, and you see a lot more younger drivers coming up, through the ranks.
I think the youth movement in today's Truck Series is very cool. It's a great proving grounds to be able to get to the upper class of NASCAR.
Personally, to me, the Truck Series, it's got a home in my heart because, sure, I ran in the Cup Series, I ran ASA, I ran all kinds of races for 30-some years, but the Truck Series is where I was able to go, win races, and win a championship.
The Camping World Truck Series probably means everything that I have today is what it's given to me. I've been racing nationwide for 4 years, but if I went up to 10 fans, they'd still ask me, what truck are you racing this year? They still associate with me with Truck Series.
I feel proud about being part of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and part of that, I might have cemented a block into the wall that really made that series strong. A lot of it has changed, but a lot of it has stayed the same. The Truck Series has something special. It always has had. In the future of the Truck Series, it can't lose what it has.
So many different names in victory lane this year, 14 different winners, and we're not even through the season yet, and we have set a new series record for first-time winners with 8. Monday night, the center of the stock car country is in the hub. The boys will deliver the ultimate setup for the season finale in Homestead. That's Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern, Race Hub only on Speed. Coming up next on the setup, most 22-year-old college students live paycheck to paycheck on ramen noodles inside a tiny dorm room. Not this 22-year-old college student.
It's actually kind of neat because growing up in Miami, a lot of houses down there are single story, so this is actually the first house I've ever lived in that has a second story. So I'm kind of excited about that, as lame as that sounds.
Ryan Truex and his brother Martin have been helping those affected by Sandy in their home state of New Jersey. Tonight he takes a break from giving to see if he can take some positions on the track. Officially known on the National Register of Historic Places as Monument Hill, the summit to the top of what race fans call Rattlesnake Hill is a must-do. Lucky for Truck Series fans, we've been doing it for you for the last 6 years. His Truck Series debut in Martinsville 2 weeks ago didn't go according to plan. Ryan Truex finished 32nd with transmission trouble, but he was impressive enough to earn a return to the seat of the 27. He's raced here 3 times in the Nationwide Series, but how have his first Phoenix truck laps gone? Well, that answer is in the Speed Spotlight.
Right off the truck, we've been fast. I think we've easily got a top 5 truck, if not better. So it's really cool how hard these guys work, and it's cool to see their hard work pay off.
30 flat, 2940, 2905. Super slick out here right now. Yeah, 10-4, everybody's fighting it. 1 and 2, when the whole car loads up, it's got no side bite in the right rear.
The track was really slick to start off, real dusty, so we were a little loose, but that was the first practice.
Practice been going real good. First practice, was a little edgy, a little free, and it just got faster and faster.
Clear, come on back, come on. Clear, clear, clear. 2840. I'll tell you, the balance of this thing is really, really good. I could drive the crap out of it with what you had for me there.
I fought loose, a little bit free right in the center, both practices, and then and got that fixed, and then just now fight just a little bit snug in the front end, but not bad.
The second practice, it tightened up as it got grip, and we were able to tighten it up to where we were actually just a little bit tight at the end of practice and race trim.
He's very quiet. He doesn't say anything. We actually joke with him. He doesn't say nothing. And then once he gets in the race car, and as long as it's handling good, he starts talking more and more, and he's been talking a lot today, so that's a good sign.
It's more fun when your vehicle drives good. But I know it's a lot less fun when it doesn't drive good.
As you know, New Jersey's pretty beat up right now, and my brother decided to start, this relief fund about a week and a half ago, and so far it's raised about $20,000. The cool thing is my brother and Mike Waltrip Racing are both matching any donations made, so I encourage people to go out and donate, like I said, anything else.
So cool indeed. Now to another driver. Earlier this year, Joey Coulter won his first Truck Series race at Pocono. For a 22-year-old driver who's also in college, majoring in engineering, that should be enough excitement for a year, right? Nope. Joey Coulter is living his dream. Now he's pursuing the American dream.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Joey Coulter, driver of number 22 Richard Childress Chevrolet, and just bought a house. Come check it out. I guess you could call this the business end of the house. It's usually never this clean. There's usually paper everywhere. Being a full-time engineering student, it means lots of homework. Got my priorities in line, as you can tell. Get set up for speed cribs, win Phoenix, win Homestead, and then study for that big engineering final. Pretty cool picture right there. It's kind of how the year started off.
Joey Coulter goes flying into the catch pit.
This is the living room. This is one of our favorite parts about this floor plan was the big open space. I turned this end of the house over to my girlfriend Jessica and my Aunt Bonnie. Well, I was only worried about two things in this room, the TV and the trophy. I wanted to put two TVs up so you could watch the football game and the race at the same time, but somebody didn't go for it. I spend this much time in here, unless it's right there at the fridge. Jessica usually kind of takes over and yells at me and tells me to leave, and cooks up a pretty mean meal. One thing that was, I think, do or die was the double ovens. They're pretty handy, although we haven't had cookies and brownies at the same time yet. So.
I'm sorry, not on the diet.
I don't know what's
not
going
on the diet.
This room's definitely a work in progress. You can call it the man cave if you want. Got big plans for this room for sure. Thanks for coming. It's been fun. Hope you enjoyed it. And we're going to run back inside and finish it up after we relax for a little bit. See you later.
Well, the good news is Joey Coulter will be able to continue to make the house payments because it was announced this week that he will be driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports next season. You see there Joey starting 17th tonight. Of course, when Joey sells that house, he'll have to pay the new 3.8% tax. Wonder if he knows that. Hey, coming up, don't forget, we have our fantasy picks for Phoenix. Who will we go with? Did we pick your favorite driver? You have to stay tuned to find out. Hey, John King is back in the field tonight. Remember him? He shocked the world winning the season opener at Daytona. King was our very first points leader of 2012. But who will be the last? Could it be one of these gentlemen? Parker Kligerman starts 7th tonight. James Busher, there you see him on the right side of your screen. He is our current points leader. He starts 9th. I wonder if one of those guys will be picked in our fantasy picks tonight. Let's first take a look at our standings. The battle up top is heated between Michael and Phil. Phil just 3 points behind Mikey, and we are all pretty tight right in there. But who gets the sticker this week. Look at this. It's Hermie again. Hermie now officially has the most stickers on our helmet. It's a little windy up here. Make sure I get that on right. So Hermie gets another sticker on the helmet, and now it's time for us to make our picks for Phoenix. I've been trying to come up with clever ways to always toss to our first guy, and it's been the same every single week. Rick Allen still in last. What's going on?
Always toss to the same guy? I mean, come on. Seriously. All right. I have been in the cellar for a couple weeks. This week, I'm going to take the advice of the guys who are leading right now our fantasy point standings. They said that Phoenix drives like a short track. So I'm trying to think, all right, who's starting up front that is good on short tracks? I think the 17 of Timothy Peters is going to have success tonight right here at Phoenix International Raceway. And so I'm picking the 17 of Timothy Peters to win and take me out of the cellar. And oh, how the mighty have fallen. The next to pick is Ray.
And Rick, it's been a strategy move for me. I liked it at the top for a little bit, but the problem was that I didn't get to pick the drivers that I really wanted. So right now, I'm going with Nelson Piquet Jr. from Vegas forward. He's been on a roll. He's going to win tonight, Voda.
Okay, well, I have a strategy as well, Ray. I just sort of like being in the middle, so I like my pick as well. Matt Crafton is who I'm going with because he's raced here a lot, 11 times, has never finished worse than 15th. His last 4 races here, he's been in the top 10, and he led the first practice session. I say Matt Crafton. Let's go to the guy who had the sticker last week, Hermie Sadler.
We've got to have more emphasis on winning. How can I have the most stickers and not be leading? Tonight I've got Parker Kligerman. You go into victory lane, get you a trophy, and me a sticker. How about it?
I think that's a great deal. I'm all in, buddy. We're here with our number 7 Red Horse Toyota here. I think we've got a definite shot. We were fast in practice. Didn't quite qualify as well as we hoped, but it's not a bad position by any means. We're on the inside, so should be a fun night.
That's Parker Kligerman. Phil Parsons, who do you have?
I'm going to pick an 18-year-old, Ryan Blaney. He went to victory lane here last fall in the K&N race. He's going to go to victory lane for the second time in a truck, and I'm going to get up on top of this guy, Mikey.
Yeah, I'm a risk taker. I'm a rebel. I'm taking a guy that qualified outside the top 20. But when he's been down, he's always bounced back. Austin Dillon, his brother, Ty, will do that again tonight. He will fight his way from the 21st starting position and make me look smarter than I just did.
Krista.
Well, one thing we know, we will have a new champion because none of the front 4 runners have won it before. But the big question, who will it be? The next step gets taken right now tonight. The desert can be associated with desperation, a last chance landscape for these drivers.
Amidst the Arizona desert and the foothills of the Estrella Mountain Range, Phoenix International Raceway will etch out the shadows of a season's end for the Camping World Truck Series. Nomads will trail the bandwagon, thirsty for championship and Truck Series stardom. For Timothy Peters, Ty Dillon, and James Buescher, a shimmering trophy may recede like a mirage.
These guys will get down to business and get with it in a hurry, getting a little racy very early.
As these desperados drive into the night, the plot will thicken.
Guys were arguing over space till they make some pretty significant contact.
Like a sandstorm, real estate will become obscure.
Look out, we got one truck going around. Timothy Peters locks it down.
Still there.
Oh, got to spin and turn 4. Contact.
First spinning here, just lock it down, lock it down.
These guys are driving right on the edge of control. Whoa, he's going to spin him out.
Goes the 30 of Todd Bodine.
When the dust settles, who will be left standing in the Lucas Oil 150? See who will ride off into the sunset only on speed.
Phoenix International Raceway, a familiar place for the trucks. The very first race in series history was held right here. But the trucks haven't been back since February of last year, meaning the surface and the layout are new. Will that play a factor in what has already proved to be an incredibly tight championship picture? Parker Kligerman not going down without a fight. Timothy Peters, the only one in the group over the age of 22. Ty Dillon has to come from way back in the field if he wants to pass James Buescher for this race and for the championship. Before the drivers do what they do best, we pause for tonight's opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Carl Hayden High School Junior ROTC Honor Guard present our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Phoenix International Raceway Chaplain Ken Bowers offers tonight's invocation.
Heavenly Father, again tonight we are reminded of the many, many ways that you help us through the challenges and changes of life, and how each day brings new opportunity to be the best we can be for you and our fellow pilgrims in life. And now as we bring the trucks back to the new surface of PIR, we pray that you'll give us a safe race tonight. And we thank you for every fan that's here, because we say it all in your name. And everyone said, amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome national country music artist Kiara Lynn Ford.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The Truck Series returns to where it all began. The title fight has 2 more rounds. Will someone throw the knockout punch tonight? You will see for yourself. From Phoenix, next on Speed.
And welcome back. Getting ready for the Lucas Oil 150 on Speed, presented by Lucas Oil. Championship battle is going to be one of our big topics. With just 2 races remaining, how will the 4 title contenders handle this racetrack? Because it is risky business in the desert when you come to a new racetrack, which this is a new surface for the Truck Series to be on here for the Camping World Truck Series, with this just 2 races to go here in Phoenix. Hello everyone, Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip with you. We talked a little bit about the points, this being such a tight battle, 4 contenders in this title battle.
Yeah, we have 4 guys that have a legitimate chance of winning this championship. Right now, James Busher certainly is in the driver's seat, and the fact that he ran the nationwide race here in February will help that too. But let's take a look at these points right now. You see Ty Dillon right now only 15 points behind, Timothy Peters 25, Parker Kligerman 27. All extremely strong teams. Each one of these guys can go to victory lane tonight and really make a statement saying, I'm going after this championship. James Busher's been solid all year, solid on the mile and a half, so we've got another one of those left next week at Homestead. But this could be the pivotal race here for this championship battle.
Yeah, tough hurdle to overcome here, Mike.
You got that right. A lot of pressure on James Busher holding that 15-point lead. Obviously, he has his destiny in his own hands, but this racetrack is tough. Talking to all the drivers down in the garage area, grip is great, but when grip goes away, you're going so fast, Rick, things happen in a hurry. John West Townley into the outside wall down in turn 1 and 2, and watch our championship contender, Ty Dillon. He can barely hang on to that truck when he just simply slips a bit outside the groove. That ended up him qualifying in the 21st spot. So things can happen quickly here, and it certainly will tonight.
Ty Dillon starting quite a bit further back than his other title contenders. Will he be able to make it through the field and up front to stay in contention? Let's hear the command right now.
And now for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, General Manager for Mats Incorporated, Marco Figueroa.
Drivers, start your engines.
Two races remain. engines are fired. James Busher has a 15-point lead over Ty Dillon. That's just 15 places on the track. And welcome back to Phoenix International Raceway. A beautiful overhead view of this new racing surface for the Truck Series. This will be the first race for them on this new surface. Your starting grid is going to roll across the top of the screen. Nelson Piquet Jr. earlier in qualifying grabbed his 4th career pole. It was Ryan Blaney who will start on his outside when we get ready to throw the green flag. Before we do that, we're going to ride along with a few different drivers. Guys, take us through our onboards.
Man, I love this truck we're hopping inside of, Rick. This is Johnny Sauter. He started in 13th spot last week in Texas and was able to win. He drives the Sealmaster Tim Duggar Toyota starting 16th. So look for some good shots from Johnny Sauter.
Guys, take a look at Miguel Paludo. World Diabetes Day is Sunday, and Miguel Paludo is going to run a paint scheme honoring that, trying to draw some awareness to diabetes, something that his young son Oliver has. He will start from the 15th spot.
And that's great, Phil. Speed knows how to do it. Not only are they on board with Miguel, but we're also going to climb in with the point leader. James Busher is going to roll off inside the top 10 in the X-Side Chevy. He lost 6 points off his point lead last week. He needs to rebound here and keep those boys at bay.
We talked to Cale Gale during qualifying. He said, I've never been to this racetrack before. Well, he put that Ream Chevy up in the 4th spot. So great starting position, trying to finish this year off strong for Cale Gale.
And let's go trackside once again to Hermie Sadler.
Well, Rick, every race we go to, we talk about strategy and track position and how many times you come to pit road. Well, tonight's race could be very, very interesting because these trucks, for the most part, can go 70, 75, maybe even 80 laps on a tank of fuel. Well, this race is only 150 laps, meaning that if the cautions fall at the right time and tires stay consistent, you could possibly do this race on one pit stop. The question is, do you want to do that? One thing it does also is puts a lot of emphasis on the pit crew. If you only make one stop, to not make a mistake that could cost your driver a chance at a championship. Ray?
You know, Hermie, it's always good to be the point leader. In 17 seasons here in the Camping World Truck Series, only 3 times has the guy who was the point leader with 2 races to go not won the championship eventually. But I'll tell you what, I've got my eye on those Red Horse trucks tonight. I really believe they have a shot to get back in this thing. Remember back in 2007, Ron Hornaday was 57 points out, and he came back to win that championship over Mike Skinner. What does that equate to today's points? Well, that means he gained 14 in one race and 13 in the final. That's a total of 27. And guess what? Timothy Peters and Parker Kligerman are both in range if we think about that year.
So the championship well within range of all 4 of our title contenders. We want to take a look at our track description and race analysis. Lucas Oil helping us out with those. Again, we talked about this, a newly paved surface for the Truck Series.
And they put a little progressive banking in, 10 to 11 degrees down in turns 1 and 2, 8 to 9 degrees down in 3 and 4. Michael, most of the guys say it really doesn't drive that much different, but this thing sure does change at night when it picks up grip.
You're exactly right, Phil. Your grip, you have so much of it, but if you slip, it becomes a big deal in a hurry. You can see here, we heard Termy talking down on pit road about the fuel window, 150 lap race. It's going to happen in a hurry, Rick. These guys can't make mistakes, and you got to be solid. It's Fast Friday for sure.
Martin Truex Jr. just got done qualifying in the Sprint Cup Series, and he was able to qualify second. He tweeted, hey, time for Trucks on Speed. Get after him. His brother running in this race, 27.
I love that family, Martin Jr., Martin Sr. They support Ryan so much, and Ryan, he deserves the support, and he steps up and performs. Great qualifying effort for that young man. He's ready to race.
Yeah, he won 2 championships for you, driving in the K&N Pro Series East.
And that's not the only reason why I like him. I love what this family is doing. You can see on the hood there, the Sandy Relief Fund. They're raising money for the victims of Sandy up in New Jersey, and sending actually a tractor trailer of supplies up to New Jersey next week and raising money. And any money that the Martin Truex Jr. Foundation.org raises, Michael Waltrip Racing and Martin Truex are going to personally match those funds. So a lot of money is going to head up that way.
Field 2x2 behind Nelson Piquet Jr. and Ryan Blaney. Only the second time Ryan Blaney has started on the front row. We'll see how he handles this start of the race. Nelson Piquet Jr. will bring the field out of turn number 4. Green flag in the air. We're underway at Phoenix.
A lot of apprehension about that outside lane, Rick. We saw guys slipping around in qualifying, namely Ty Dillon got up there and about spun out. You could see people tiptoeing through that outside groove. It looks like we're going to get through the first turn without any issues.
Brian Scott in the 18, able to take over that second spot from Ryan Blaney as he slides up the racetrack just a little bit further.
You see some guys on the outside not really making any ground up.
Yeah, you know, Phil, not making any ground, you're right, but darn, I like what I saw. They were able to maintain pretty much when they got on the high land. So that means as this race wears on, we're going to see some good side-by-side racing like we always do in the trucks.
A lot of sparks coming out from the 88, at least on the left front, until the tires come up. I'm guessing that one's going to rub a little bit.
Yeah, and I love that, Rick. When I used to drive a car or a truck, if that left front is down, that means you're digging through the corners. It needs to drag it just a little bit when the tires are at their lowest pressure, so you don't give anything up as your pressures come up.
A driver wants to hear that, wants to hear and feel that thing dragging, especially when the air pressure's low.
See Kyle Larson up on the outside. He tried to get back in the gas, had a bit of a wiggle there. Opened the door on the bottom for David Mayhew to drive that number 19 truck up underneath Larson.
You know, David Mayhew's one of the guys that probably has as much experience on this new surface as anybody in the field because he's run a couple K&N races. One here in the spring.
Take a look at the 27, decided to take the shortcut.
That's a big shortcut too. He got way down on the inside. And you'll see that all night long, especially when these guys start to catch lap traffic. You don't want to lose your momentum. This is a momentum racetrack because it's a mile long and there's so much banking in these corners because it's a smaller track. You don't want to let off the gas on the straightaway. You'll see guys down off the track on the back straightaway. It's fun to watch.
Ty Dillon again starting this race back in the 21st position. He's made his way up to 17th, but it's going to be some slow going to get up front.
Yeah, and he has to be very, very careful right now. I think once he would get himself inside the top 10, then I think he can relax a little bit. But you see these trucks nose to tail right now.
And they're also down underneath the yellow line in the corners. That's where they want to be. They want that nose down on the yellow line, maybe peeking down under it to try to get a nose up along the truck in front of them. And you can see that's what Dillon's all over right now.
Nelson Piquet Jr. has about a half a second lead over Brian Scott, then Ryan Blaney, Matt Crafton, Cale Gale, your top 5. Busher, Peters, Truex, Mayhew, and Paluto is your top 10.
Yeah, Brian Scott is right there. We talked to him earlier, and he was really, really happy with his truck. And really, really glad to be doing double duty here, also running the nationwide race. Yeah, Joe Gibbs race.
It's so cool to see Brian Scott up front fighting for the lead in a truck race. Nelson Piquet has established himself this year as a guy that can lead a lot of laps, can run out front and win races. Brian Scott's trying to do the same thing tonight.
Yep, Brian Scott has one win in the Camping World Truck Series. Came a few years back when he ran the full season at Dover. Another mile racetrack, but obviously way different than this Phoenix race.
Way different. And you know, when they repaved it and reconfigured it a little bit and changed the banking, people thought maybe this place will be more like Dover, but it just hasn't happened. It still races like a big short track, and that's why when you talk about this racetrack to the folks down in the garage area, all the drivers, a smile comes to their face. They love competing here at Phoenix.
7 and 13, a little bit earlier. We're pretty close now, but this was just a bit earlier. It looks like the 13's letting him know, I'm here.
Yeah, it may not be done yet here. A little shot getting in the corner. Now Johnny, wow, dead sideways.
I guess Johnny didn't like the fact that Kligerman cut him off coming down the back straightaway. Johnny didn't want to go down off the racetrack, and he ran into Kligerman.
We saw Joey Coulter move up there, but now is falling back. Battle for the lead. Here comes Brian Scott. He's got the preferred line on the inside. Scott takes the top spot away from Nelson Piquet.
Nice job. This is, you know, this 18 truck is trying to get to victory lane for the first time this season. The team truck, the 51, got to victory lane with Denny Hamlin at Martinsville. 18 truck has not been to victory lane yet.
Brian Scott would love to be the bearer of good news for team owner Kyle Busch if he can get that vehicle out front, hold it out front, and keep it there, get all the way to victory lane. And right now he's putting some distance between himself and second place Nelson Piquet.
And you can see just behind Piquet, there's Ryan Blaney. He's keeping pace with these leaders as well. So nice start for Blaney. Matt Crafton as well. All 4 of the front trucks are within contact with each other.
So Brian Scott has taken away the top spot from Nelson Piquet Jr. Can Brian Scott get back to victory lane in 2012?
Don't miss a lap as the battle for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Championship comes down to the final race. A new champion will be crowned in Miami.
It's a speedway that feels like a short track, and that's what we've seen so far. Guys using the bumper to get by here at Phoenix International Raceway. Right now, it's Brian Scott out in front in the desert. Brian Scott leading the Lucas Oil 150, presented by Lucas Oil here on Speed. 17 laps in the books, and Brian Scott has a 1.6 second lead over Nelson Piquet Jr., and he is putting some distance between himself now as he's going by some of the slower lap trucks.
Running fast, too. I mean, that last lap was within about 0.08 of a second of his fastest lap in the entire race, and these tires are just staying fast.
Yeah, and you know, when we went to break, all four trucks were basically equally separated apart, all running right together. As you can see, Scott is out of there. He has left, and every lap that he runs, he's the fastest truck on the track.
One of our title contenders, Parker Kligerman, back in the 13th spot. As you see the gap between first and second. There's the 7 of Parker Kligerman. Hermie, what's happening with the team?
Well, Rick, when Parker got in the truck to start the race, he said, we've got a truck that can win. But as soon as they dropped the green flag, loose, especially on entry into turn 1 and turn 3. He has since stabilized, but he's dropped all the way back to 13th. He's got a lot of track position to make back up now. Ty Dillon, we talked about, started 21st. He's up inside the top 15, and he liked the fact when he had that clean air, when he was running down his teammate, Joey Coulter. But now that he is catching the 7 and the 22, his truck is tightening up a little bit as well. So some of our championship contenders struggling right now on the racetrack.
Guys, that's a battle for third right there with Piquet and Crafton. That's because Ryan Blaney has gotten by Piquet to move up into the second spot.
Piquet went down in that elbow. Now the elbow is in the back stretch of this racetrack.
Elbow?
Well, it's dog leg, whatever you want to call it.
And you can see Matt Crafton using that bottom line. He's going to drive underneath Piquet coming off turn 4. That's exactly the way that you could see the pass here. That's exactly the way that Ryan Blaney made the move on Piquet as well. You could see Piquet behind the slower truck, maybe a little bit of his arrow off the front end, slid up the hill, opened the door for Ryan Blaney. Not too much longer, Matt Crafton takes advantage of the same situation.
You have to be an opportunist here, and that's what Ryan Blaney was right there.
2 of our top 4 in the point standings. James Buescher coming into this race with the points lead. Timothy Peters currently 3rd in the point standings. He was 25 points back from Buescher. Really, if Buescher has a solid run tonight, he's going to eliminate a couple guys. He will eliminate Timothy Peters and Parker Kligerman. But Ty Dillon's still right there in the running if James Buescher still has a strong run.
Oh, yeah, we have a long way to go to in this race.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's a lot of racing that's going to go down. There's going to be some restarts, at least a pit stop, probably a couple. These trucks are going to go through some transitions. They're used to all this grip that they have right now. That's basically what they felt throughout practice. But they're going to stay out there on these tires now longer than they have all weekend long. That'll change the balance of the truck. The crews will have to go to work on them.
We've seen that 3 truck perform very flawlessly on pit road throughout this season, so they may be able to pick up a few positions on pit road. Again, guys, we're talking about these speeds not falling off any. We could see some 2-tire changes, and a lot of guys were talking about they felt like the left sides were wearing more than the right sides. We may see 2-tire changes when people put left sides on.
And we haven't seen that very often, if at all.
Not in the trucks, but you know, at Martinsville a couple weeks ago in the Cup Series, those guys would put on left side tires instead of right. Hadn't seen it in a while. Seemed to work really well there. So last week, Parker Kligerman's team left him out on 2 tires late in the going. We didn't think that was a very good call, but as it turns out, Parker had a shot to win late. So you're right. Strategy on pit road will be a big part of who wins this race.
Kyle Larson celebrating a championship. This is kind of a celebration weekend for him after he came off of last weekend at Rockingham and won the K&N Pro Series East Division.
There's a battle for the 14th spot. Teammates going after it. Ty Dillon to the bottom, Joey Coulter on the high side. It'll be interesting to see if Joey can make any time up top.
Ty working at the bottom of the racetrack. Again, that's a fight for the 14th spot.
Joey's giving Ty plenty of room down on the bottom. We'll see how it goes down here in 1 and 2. Looked like he was able to hold serve. Now a little bit wide. He's going to lose a couple spots.
Oh, you see, he gets loose when he gets up out of the groove and enabled not only Dillon to go by, but here comes Hornaday, and now Brendan Gaughan looks to the bottom.
I think Brendan gave him a break, teammates and all, because He looks like he had a run on Joey, and he let Joey go, look like.
But look at Ty Dillon, Phil. Every time he gets by a truck, he just drives right up to the next one in front of him. So he's marching through the field. He's got a good run on the inside of Miguel Paludo here into one. That truck looks really strong. See him be able just to tuck over to the left, keep that thing pinned down on the bottom so he can drive up, use that momentum to drive under trucks.
Whoa, we got a little bit of a close call there trying to get by the 74 of Mike Harmon. We saw him when he got by a truck and had some clean racetrack. He was able to run laps comparable to what the leaders were running.
That's a good feeling too, when you can just hold that baby over to the left, just keep it to the inside of the truck you're following, gets a little fresh air down on the nose, pins that left side, and you're able to make passes, and that's what we're watching Dillon do.
Dillon trying to take 13th away from Miguel Paludo. He's got the advantage as they're working their way into 3.
I really like the patience that Ty's shown. When he started back in the 21st spot, he just took his time. He got up to 15th fairly quickly and then rode there for a while. Now he's gained 2 or 3 spots in the last 2 or 3 laps.
I loved his attitude after qualifying. He said, that didn't go well, but I don't care. I'll still win this race.
3.5 seconds the separation between Brian Scott and Ryan Blaney, Phoenix International Raceway. You know, Rick Hendrick has experienced the highs and lows of motorsports and life. You can join us on Sunday for his Speed Exclusive. First time ever, past and present drivers who captured all of Hendrick's Cup victories gather in one place to share personal and never before told stories about the journey of laughter, tragedy, and triumph. And speaking of tragedy, right there, an issue for the 97 of Jeff Choquette.
We talked about Choquette getting out of the gate strong this year. An 11th place finish and an 8th out of Iowa, and this track's a whole lot like Iowa. It reminds you of it the way it drives, but problems here. Oh, blow the right front tire. Look, I talked in the opening about how hard you'd hit if something went wrong. How'd that feel?
We're talking about probably speeds upwards of 150 miles an hour as you drive off in these corners, but on this little 1 mile racetrack, the radius of the corners is pretty tight. That's why you hit so hard here without a whole lot of banking to catch you.
So Jeff Choquette brings out our first caution after we had completed 36 laps of 150.
What do we do?
I think if we come in now, put tires on, then we make it a 2-stop race.
Right, and I think that's a good call. And maybe if I'm running 10th or 12th, I try that left side tire strategy, or just put on a couple of rights, try to get some track position, because Phil, I believe it'll work here at Phoenix with the grip that these guys have. I don't know. I think maybe 2 tires is a good try.
Brian Scott had a 5.2 second lead over Ryan Blaney before the caution came out. Safety crews attending to the 97 of Jeff Choquette. As soon as pit road is open, I'm sure we'll see everyone duck onto pit road.
I like when you say that, duck on. They'll just dive right in there.
They'll dive right in there. We see Jeff Choquette making his way.
Talked about how hard it hits. And you can see Choquette was a little bit shaken up by that.
Still has a smile on his face, though. He really has done a great job. Couple top 10, top 11 finishes in the 2 starts so far this year.
Finished 11th back at Iowa, and then 8th at the second Iowa. Had focused on that racetrack.
Here they come.
Made his move to Phoenix. The field on their way onto pit road. We start off with Hermie Sadler and the 31 team.
Well, James Busher's coming to pit road. Not a lot of movement so far for the 31. He qualified in that, running 7th. Been fighting a tight condition, especially off of turn 4. It's going to be 4 tires, Sunoco fuel. He's too close to the wall. They're going to have trouble if they try to go 4 tires down to Ray Dunlap.
Brian Scott has his Dollar General Tundra in here. They're making adjustments on air pressure. Right side tires, he'll get out ahead of the 51. Bad news is, he said, there's a chance that the motor is laying down on that truck. He said it just sounds funny. Pit stall number 1, Nelson Piquet Jr. has his Auto Track Chevrolet there. They're going to go with 4 tires. They'll hang 4, put Sunoco fuel in. That's going to lose him some spots. Piquet came in running 4th. He's going to lose 4 or 5 going out.
We watched at the top of the screen, Ray. Ty Dillon took 2 left side tires. We talk about differing tire strategy. Our leader a couple of rights. Ty Dillon all the way from his 21st starting position up inside the top 5 now because of a 2 tire stop.
You see James Busher locked the front wheels up here. We saw that Brad Keselowski last week slide through his pit, really cost him a number of positions. Now this guy, you see the left side's up on the wall. They were going to go with 4 tires with that truck. Watch him as he comes in.
Winning a championship takes perfection in many areas. Can this team overcome sliding through the pit, giving up these spots, or will it cost them? The plot thickens for this championship battle.
We will get you updated on what they did to that 31 truck when we come back, but looks like a problem on pit road for the 31 of James Buescher, your point leader. And welcome back. A big change in the championship standings, at least on the racetrack right now. Ty Dillon went from 13th to 3rd on those pit stops. James Buescher is now in the 8th position for this restart. So Ty Dillon has an advantage over James Buescher as they get ready for the green flag.
We talked about that 3 team being solid on pit road. Good strategy and a good stops. Got them some track position.
Green flag back in the air. Brian Scott, Timothy Peters, side by side as they go to turn 1.
Ty Dillon down on the bottom of the racetrack. Could not have worked out much better for him. He got the inside line because he came off pit road 3rd.
Very close to the 17 as they work their way down the back stretch and into 3.
All 3 of those guys are chasing James Buescher for this championship, but they're all ahead of him on the track tonight. Are they going to go 3 wide?
Looked like Ryan Blaney thought about it for a moment.
They're still thinking about it, Phil.
Brian Scott tried to check out. Ty Dillon has moved up to 2nd. The battle continues for 3rd on back.
There's Cale Gale with 33 on the inside. He maintained a top 5 position that entire early run. Racing right now with Matt Crafton in the 88.
Hermie, what's the story on the 31 and what they did on the pit stop?
Well, Rick, they were planning to get 4 tires. James Buescher slid into the pit box, slight contact on the left front, but here's the major concern. This is the right front tire. You can see where he slid the tires coming into the pits. They are hoping, they stayed on the racetrack, they are hoping the left sides did not flat spot to cause an issue for Buescher on the track.
And the caution comes out. John King in the 5 hits the wall pretty hard, bringing out our 2nd caution.
That looks like just a case of maybe getting up out of the groove, whether it's contact from another truck or what, but doesn't look like there was a tire issue there. John just maybe slid out the groove and into the wall.
That's a backup truck for John. He got into the wall in practice. They had to get a backup truck out.
He was a lap down, running in the 24th spot when he got into the wall, bringing out our 2nd caution. Brian Scott still leading the Phoenix. Right here on speed. Let's go back trackside to Hermie.
Just a quick update, Rick. The 3 truck of Austin Dillon running 3rd, came in on that pit stop, took left side tires only. He's running P2 right now, left side tires only, no adjustments for the 3.
Brian Scott strong. We'll see how he does on the inside of Ty Dillon this time. Coming out of turn 4, 2x2. Green flag back in the air.
It's going to be a challenge from the outside for Ty.
Can he hold on to that 2nd spot as we see Parker Kligerman trying to close the gap between he and Brian Scott?
Well, we saw in qualifying, he's not scared. He's not afraid to go up there and run hard. It didn't work in qualifying. It looked like he had a pretty good run through 1 and 2, but Brian Scott's just too strong. But that run he made through 1 and 2 enabled those guys to drive away from 3rd place Parker Kligerman, and Dillon was able to get to the bottom. 3 wide off 4.
See Cale Gale on the outside. Looks like Nelson Beek. Oh, trouble in the middle of the straightaway.
Jason White involved in this one, as well as, I believe that's the 11 of Todd Bodine.
Boy, Todd, just a victim of circumstances. The wrong place at the wrong time. And look at the damage to that Toyota.
We saw Jason White have some issues coming out of turn 4. Catches the 11 of Todd Bodine, so more damage for that team.
Wow, and a lot of damage on that gunbroker.com grind boss truck of Jason White. Why was he all sideways on the straightaway? Somebody must have got
probably some contact. We were 3 wide in front of him.
They bunched up ahead of him. Jason might have got out of the gas a little bit seeing the issues, and someone behind him didn't.
Take another look.
Oh no, Jason's just loose.
Just got sideways, caught it, but unfortunately probably would have been okay if Todd had to come along, but Todd had to go somewhere.
And this year, that's been the story for Todd Bodine. He's been loose, sideways, and just unfortunate, wrong place at the wrong time so many different times. Watch him here.
Todd looked like he had a lane on the inside and did for a while, but Jason was just still trying to regain control. Here's Miguel Paludo's on board. You see Jason dead sideways. Miguel went all the way down to the bottom, got by before he came down there. Quite a bit of damage to that gunbroker Ford.
They bring it onto pit road. Take a look. May have to go behind the wall for all that damage.
I think that's what the crew was signaling. You need to get behind the wall with that thing. Matt Merrill gets the Aaron's lucky dog back on the lead lap.
And that will mean 24 still on the lead lap here at Phoenix International Raceway. Third caution just came out at Phoenix International Raceway as Jason White got loose coming off of turn 4, caught the 11 of Todd Bodine, and the two trucks made their way onto pit road. Now let's go back to pit road and hear from Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Rick, give you an update on the number 17 of Timothy Peters. He said he's about a number 2 when you consider his looseness on entry to turn number 1. That's on a scale of 1 to 10. But when he gets down to turn number 3, it's a 4. So differing ends of the racetrack certainly giving him differing thoughts. But they went with right side tires only on that first round of pit stops. We want to hear now from Hermie.
Well, thank you, Ray. And James Busher, as we saw with the camera shot coming into his pit box, overshot his pit box, hit the wall just slightly with the left front. They had planned to take 4 tires. They took 2 tires, right sides only. A little bit of concern about the lefts, but James says he thinks the tires are good to go, staying on the racetrack.
And Busher's going to restart this one 9th. Out front, Brian Scott is outside. The 3 of Ty Dillon. Green flag back in the air.
Look at Brian Scott, really aggressive against Ty Dillon down into turn 1, pulling up to try to get him to lift off the gas, but Dillon's having none of it.
Kligerman's in the wall.
Parker Kligerman in the wall just as Ty Dillon took the lead away from Brian Scott. Huge damage to the 7 for Kligerman.
On the bottom right there, Parker, 20 inside. We're hearing there may have been some contact from behind. I believe the 88 of Matt Crafton was behind Parker.
And you see the damage to the left front of that truck.
Well, that was after the fact. He ran into Kligerman. He might have wrecked him and then run into him, but he definitely ran into him after Kligerman was sideways.
And hit the wall as well. We take another look.
Yeah, it just Kligerman just gets loose down on the inside of Ryan Blaney, and Matt Crafton had nowhere to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was no contact at all from behind. It's just, that's how tough it is to drive one of these babies. Watch him just get loose trying to stay down on the bottom of Blaney. Can't hold it down. They make contact, and look at poor Matt Crafton. Just like Todd Bodine a minute ago, he had nowhere to go.
Absolutely nowhere to go. It got squeezed up into the wall.
Great job by Nelson Piquet Jr. barely slipping by Kligerman on the bottom.
I mean, another view. Watch that 7 truck. He's going to get loose. He has to chase it up the hill. He tries to stay off the 29 of Blaney, but then the thing finally grabs, and the right front shoots to the right, and then Matt Crafton's there with nowhere to go.
Riding along with 31 of Busher.
And watch Piquet, too. Look at the job Piquet does. Turn left hard, and that's not easy to do, change directions like Piquet did without spinning out. Watch the bottom of your screen as Piquet comes into sight. Barely slipping
just
by.
Barely. May even have made slight contact with the left side of Kligerman's.
And another guy that had a real close call on this was Cale Gale. Watch Cale as this develops.
Well, we ran the first 30-some laps caution-free, and then bam, all of a sudden, caution, caution, caution.
Cautions breed cautions a lot of times. You bunch these babies up, especially in these short races. 150 laps, you run 40 or 50 of them off in a hurry, you become very, very serious about gaining ground, and you can gain the most on restarts, and sometimes you have a crash.
Parker Kligerman involved in this one. Hard into the wall, that truck being pushed behind the wall. Welcome back under our 4th caution from Phoenix International Raceway. And the shining moment brought to you by Duplicolor's new Tire Shine 5X. If there was a shining moment in this incident, it would have to be the 30 of Nelson Piquet.
He was right up behind. He was in line on the outside line. You see him just barely get by the 7 of Kligerman. He was in line behind Crafton. He saw that develop, turned hard to left, and barely missed him.
And the driver of that 7 has climbed out of his truck and is with Ray Dunlap.
Yeah, and they have just told me officially, Rick, that truck is done. Their night is over. Championship hope's gone. How close were you to saving that one, Parker?
Well, looking at the replay, it's not very impressive, is it? It's not every. You don't want to just get loose and then nose in the wall. that's not very good driving, but, you know, we were just really loose in our number 7 Toyota Tundra. Really loose all night, just flipping blowers like crazy, trying to heat up different tires to tighten it up. And on that restart, I'd had the earlier restart and it was just fine doing that, but I guess with 29 going around us a little bit and just maybe not having a little air there, sucked around. But hey, it's not, you know, there's no blame but myself right there. You know, at the end of the day, if you're in that position, you spin it down the inside and whatever, you don't try to catch it. So it's all right. We'll go to Homestead with a brand new truck, 008. And now we got one thing to do, it's just win, right?
All right, Parker Kligerman out for the night, and in the championship, guys, now there are 3.
You know, and if that's my driver, that's what I want to hear. He said, I messed up. I'll get him next week. No excuses.
They'll bring a new truck to Miami. We go to Homestead next week. Road and Hermie Sadler. Ray.
Well, I'll pick it up, Rick, because I wanted to let you know that on lap 38, Timothy Peters pitted the first round, took right side tires. But guess what? They decided on a strategy move here. Lap 60, the 17 comes down pit road. He gets into his box, and the guys are going to put 4 tires on this red Toyota. They're going to pack that thing full of Sunoco fuel. And guess what? This puts them in position to not pit again. Can they make it? We don't know. But let's hear from the crew chief talking to his driver.
Clear up, no speed. Clear up, clear up, clear up, clear up. Save it fuel. Save all you can here.
Telling him to save all the fuel that he possibly can, but here's the great move, guys. Everyone else is going to have to come down pit road later. These guys believe with the right amount of cautions, they don't have to come back.
I like this call a lot, but you're going to need some brakes. We're talking in the opening about the pit window being from 75 to 80. They got to go 90. But if you get enough caution flags, and man, there's trucks sliding around everywhere, you stay out. We think the tires will hold up well enough for them to win this race. I like the call.
And Michael, we've already got 2 caution laps, and we're going to have another one because they're still not under 1 to go. So they're going to get 3-4 of those caution laps right now. He's going to need somewhere between 10 and 15 caution laps, I would guess. Plus, Timothy can be shutting it off right now and try to save additional fuel.
And we heard a little more radio chatter between crew chief and driver. Let's listen in.
All right. Okay, the trick here is going to be careful. Just pick your way through the traffic. Just don't worry about where we are, because when they all pit, we won't have to.
That's spoken like a crew chief. Don't worry about where you are. Don't worry about those 15, 20 trucks ahead of you.
Back on pit road. Now we're going to top it off here. They gave 1 to go, so he might as well. He's at the back of the lead lap trucks. He might as well come in here, top this thing off. And now he's only going to have to go 87 laps.
As they're running on the racetrack, your point battle, James Buescher now just 6 points in front of Ty Dillon. 40 in front of Timothy Peters, but again, the strategy coming into play with the 17 team.
Oh, yeah, and he's going to be clicking off those positions, and the points will come down. This could be a great move for Timothy Peters. Could be a fantastic move.
Yeah, you got to take chances when you're behind. Look at Ty Dillon, a bad qualifying effort. They used pit strategy. They're leading the race. They get a pit. They get a bonus point already, plus he's leading the race. So you got to take chances when you're behind, and that's what we're seeing our championship contenders do.
Could be a championship move for the 17 team, but we've got plenty of racing still to go. 86 laps when they come to the stripe. Green flag back in the air. Ty Dillon, your race leader on the inside. On the outside, that 18 of Brian Scott.
Boy, Ty drove it hard down in the corner. Didn't let Brian Scott stay on his outside.
Yeah, we saw Ty Dillon make that outside work, and Brian Scott wasn't able to do so.
Brian Scott has led 45 laps.
Oh, sideways.
And into the wall goes the 13 of Johnny Sauter. Also with damage, the 9 of Ron Hornaday.
Great job by Ryan Truex snaking his way through there. It looked like maybe Nelson Piquet got loose on the inside of Johnny Sauter and hit Sauter and put him in the wall.
Miguel Paludo, the 32 truck, got a piece of that as well.
Saw the 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. slow through there. It looks as though he has some damage also. There's a lot of damage to that 9 of Ron Hornaday. The 5th caution coming out. There's the 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. Quite a bit of damage to that 30.
And I'm telling you, Phil, all this is helping James Buescher in his quest for a championship. All these are trucks that could have run between Buescher and Ty Dillon. Now they're crashed, and that just means more spots for Buescher and less opportunity for the other guys.
And these caution laps are certainly helping Timothy Peters, too.
You can see on the inside of Johnny Sauter, Nelson Piquet was there. I don't know that Nelson went up as much as maybe.
Spark potentially too on the right side? It looked like right when he was checking up, there was a spark on the right side, and up the track he went.
Looked like maybe more Johnny Sauter.
Yeah, Johnny didn't give him a whole lot of room. You see Nelson with his left side right down against the yellow line.
Yeah, I don't know that I could hang that on Nelson Piquet. He was down inside of Sauter, and like you said, Phil, he was right down on the line. Maybe we get a better look.
There's Miguel Paludo coming by, running into the 9 of Hornaday. Miguel was nowhere to go when he got there. We know how difficult these trucks are to drive when somebody is squeezing you from the high side.
That was with Johnny Sauter.
This is Miguel Paludo. Remember, he's going to make contact with Ron Hornaday.
Wow, a lot going on there for Paludo, isn't there?
Yeah. He got slowed down and tried to turn left as much as he could.
I like this shot here. You could see there wasn't a whole lot Piquet could do, I don't believe.
I'm not sure Johnny gave him enough room. Piquet, I think, would have had to have driven off the racetrack to give Johnny enough room there.
And you know, usually your spotter is all over telling you got one look and you're going to leave him room, because you know if you don't, people are assuming you're going to get left room.
Let's go back to pit road and Ray.
They've been working on this race truck. He's coming back. They've got to do some more. You see that rear flapping. That thing being loose is not going to be good. But Piquet's been a little free in and a little free off. Just after that last round of pit stops, he came on the radio and told his crew chief, Chris Carrier, he said, I'm having trouble with the brakes. He said, I'm really loose when I'm under braking. He's been adjusting the bias, so I'm wondering if that had anything to do with it. They're going to try to bare bond that rear quarter panel and also pull out the right front fender on this AutoTrack Chevrolet.
5 cautions, already 25 laps under caution from Phoenix International Raceway. That's definitely helping out Timothy Peters, trying a different strategy. Monday night, head to the center of stock car country with the Hub. Our expert panel will break down all the championship fights from Phoenix and deliver the ultimate setup for the season finale in Homestead. NASCAR Race Hub, Monday 6 Eastern, only on Speed.
You know, the thing I love is we have championship battles in all 3 of our series here with 2 to go.
Should be great ones with 2 to go. This one, the Lucas Oil 150, presented by Lucas Oil on Speed. After 70 laps, it is Ty Dillon out in front of Brian Scott. We hear so many times people say cautions breed cautions, and you had no cautions through the first 36 laps here, and then we've had 5 in the last 34 laps.
We went to crashing and we can't get it out of our system. And there's a guy that ultimately I think, Phil, has been the biggest benefactor so far in what has happened on the racetrack. James Busher just needs to have a normal night, and the more trucks that go out of the race, that's fewer trucks that can squeeze themselves between Busher and Ty Dillon.
This 31 team is definitely thinking championship. Listen to what they had to say on the radio.
You know, we're racing 2 trucks. The 7's already in the garage.
And that's evident by their thinking. You know, let's focus on those 2. If they come to pit road, we'll come with them. Let's just stay on their schedule, because we've got a 15-point cushion over them coming into tonight.
Johnny Sauter has been checked and released from the infield care center, as well as Jeff Jaquette. 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. back on pit road to do some more work to that truck.
Yeah, a lot of damage to that auto truck Chevrolet. We saw him make hard contact with the outside wall.
He was on the inside of that 13 of Johnny Sauter. And now they continue to work. And let's go back to pit road.
Real quick, Rick, to give you an update, the 17 came on the radio, said at this point we're only 2 laps short.
So they're already thinking big picture as well. They're not coming back to pit road. Most of the field will have to come back to pit road. Ty Dillon, Brian Scott, green flag back in the air.
Dillon has been spot on these restarts, hasn't he? When he's on the outside of Brian Scott, he drove ahead of him. When he's on the inside of him, he drives ahead of him. So great job by that young man when they throw the green flag of gaining the advantage.
Looks like a great restart for Ryan Blaney, and now Cale Gale is coming back on the inside, trying to take that spot away. Those 2 racing for 3rd.
Got to be careful. They're running side by side. We saw what happened just a few moments ago. And there we have it again.
One more time, Cale Gale goes around, this time right in front of the field. And the caution will come out for the 6th time.
Not a lot of damage, I don't believe, on Cale Gale's truck. Just lightly into the outside, but he was trying to squeeze down on the bottom. Lost it. Like you said, Phil, could have been a lot of trouble for Ryan Blaney, but fortunately, Blaney wasn't hit by Gale. See, the right front tire has been into someone there.
See a lot of damage to that left rear corner. Looked like he got into the outside wall a little bit harder than we initially thought. And there's our lucky dog, Nelson BK Jr. They made a lot of changes on pit road. Let's take a look at it. You see them running side by side. We saw what happened to cause our last caution.
There it is, contact with the right front. He just got into the left rear.
How about the job by Brendan Gaughan and Herman Cataroga to get by him?
Look at James Busher. This isn't what you want to see when you're leading a championship. The guy you're following sideways.
How about very similar situation? It did look like Ryan gave Cale a whole bunch of room down on the bottom of the racetrack.
How about we get on board with our point leader, guys? See what he sees.
He's got his own battle fighting Brendan Gaughan. Then he sees the 33 dead sideways.
Did you hear him gas it up when he saw the chance? Let me get out of here.
Saw an opening, took advantage of it.
Let's watch Brendan Gaughan. Where's Brendan going to go? He's right in the path of destruction here.
He finds the brakes quickly.
You could see Joey Coulter to the bottom. Brendan having to wait through that smoke. Did Quiroga make some contact with the left front?
He was very close, if not.
Hermie.
Johnny Sauter out of the Care Center. The kind of year it's been for you guys. Win 1 week out of the race tonight would put you out.
I'm not exactly sure. I don't know what the replay is, but I'm pretty confident I know. But you know, everybody thinks we need to go racing on dirt. We can't even race on asphalt. So whatever. Just very disappointing. Sealmaster, Kurt Brecker's Toyota was pretty fast. You know, we're working on trying to get track position. But when it's spread out there, we could run just as fast as the leader, if not faster. So I felt like we had a truck that was capable of winning tonight, and unfortunately, it's on the hook. And just the way this year's gone, we'll go to Homestead and take care of business.
Ray Dunlap?
Well, all the front-running trucks came to pit road. We saw the 3 come down. He got tires. Brian Scott came to me. They had taken right sides the last time. They went with lefts this time. So it appears that our pit stops could very well be done for tonight. That was lap 75 when they hit pit road. Should be able to make the distance from here.
Heck, Ray, if they keep having crashes, though, you never know. Somebody might come in late and get some tires. They think there's advantage there. It'd be interesting to see how the strategy of Brian Scott plays out. Just 2 tires a couple of times so far.
Differing strategies from differing teams who will end up in victory lane tonight at Phoenix International Raceway.
Goodyear, driven by those who use the world as their proving ground. And everything we've learned making these tires inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven.
What would it take to put your heart out there? If you knew you could be yourself 100%, would that do the trick? For your heart to find deep, lasting love on eHarmony.
I wouldn't trade our time together, wouldn't trade for anything. 'Cause nothing else here in the world can bring the happiness you bring.
Lucas Oil 150, presented on speed by Lucas Oil. Continuing from Phoenix International Raceway. Ryan Truex stayed out on the racetrack, as did Timothy Peters. So they are 1 and 2. Hermie.
The 31 truck came back to pit road, Rick. They took the left side tires that they were not able to take on their last stop. So they're good with tires. You can see the pit stop right here. Stayed far enough away from the wall to give them plenty of room. Get the left side tires on stickers. Top it off with fuel. Unless something else happens, the 31 is done pitting tonight.
See, here comes Ty Dillon. Ty actually won the battle off pit road. Top 7 trucks stayed on the racetrack. Ty goes with left side tires once again. We talked about those left side tires, Michael, wearing a little bit more than the right sides.
They haven't put rights on that truck all night. You can see how careful. Looked like Brian Scott rolled into his pit. His team able to get left sides on that truck. It's nicely choreographed, isn't it? Don't you love to watch a pit stop, whether it's 4 tires or left? Everybody has a responsibility. That was a really smooth stop for the team.
Ryan Truex on the inside. Timothy Peters on the outside. Again, as Phil mentioned, the top 7 stayed out on the racetrack. We'll see how they're able to handle this situation. Green flag back in the air.
With the top 7 that stayed on the track and new tires behind them, we could be looking at another caution.
See, Ty Dillon is able to jump down to the inside. 2 or 3 trucks going down on the apron there in the dog leg.
Popping out on the other side.
Whoa!
Close contact. Timothy Peters into the back of the 27. So Truex, a wild ride as he goes down into turn number 1.
Got the 19 of Mayhew. Justin Lofton, the 6th side by side in the battle for 3rd. Lofton has it now.
These guys are fighting for the bottom of the track, aren't they? Whatever it costs, let's get to the bottom. Look at Justin Lofton off the racetrack onto the apron, making the pass on Timothy Peters.
Takes second away from Timothy Peters. Now the crossover move. Peters trying to duck back on the inside.
What about Justin Lofton? It's been a tough year for him. Tore up a lot of trucks. Heck, tore this truck up yesterday. The team fixed it. Now he's running 2nd.
Mayhew running in the 4th spot. Kyle Larson, Ty Dillon battling for 5th.
We saw Ty Dillon take advantage of the bottom when he got on the inside of Brian Scott. Heck, that time he drove around the outside of him. That's a really strong truck Ty Dillon's driving.
So Kyle Larson's going to be able to make the pass on Mayhew. That will move him up to the 4th spot. Now Ty Dillon looks to the inside of David Mayhew.
Dillon fighting for a championship. James Busher after the stops. He's running 10th. Ty Dillon running 6th.
I tell you, Michael, I like what I see out that 2nd groove, especially down to 1 and 2. People are able to make some good time down there.
Just going to get better and better as this race goes on. And I know there's a lot of folks racing for championships, NASCAR championships, and other divisions here that are really liking what they're seeing.
You know, coming into this race, the top 3 divisions, all racing for titles, only 22 points separated all 3. That's combined.
Look at the way that Ty Dillon's able to dive down into turn 1. Drove back up on the outside of Brendan Gaughan.
But Brendan was able to make the pass. Brendan got underneath Ty down in 1 and 2 and was able to make it work.
Here comes Brian Scott. He's able to work his way past the 3, as well as Ryan Blaney now also trying to take that spot away.
Maybe Ty's paying for not getting right sides here, Michael.
Looked like he had a really good start, a restart, got to the bottom, but then lost that ground he made up on the start.
Riding along with Busher, closest competitor in the title battle.
Dillon finally
in front of him.
Clears Ryan Blaney. I don't like the way that looks. Do you feel?
Lost some ground to Blaney too. He had to pedal that throttle down there.
Right, he couldn't hold it over toward the bottom at all. Slid up the track. Opened the door up for Joey Coulter to take a look on the inside of our point leader.
Ryan Truex has a little over a half a second lead over Justin Lofton. Timothy Peters running 3rd. Kyle Larson 4th. Mayhew is 5th. Back here currently in the 8th spot, Ty Dillon. And Brendan Gaughan and Ryan Scott.
Last time by, our leader, Ryan Truex, was the fastest truck on the track. He's our spotlight driver from the setup show. We heard him talking about adjusting on that truck. Now he's got the lead in that baby.
Guys, remember we talked about Timothy Peters and his strategy. He pitted on lap number 63. Ryan Truex pitted back on lap number 60. He has to go the full 90 laps.
Right before we came on the air, Cup qualifying was taking place, and I was down on pit road and talked to Martin Truex Jr. He said, hey, can you show my brother some love tonight, because I think he's going to be pretty good. Well, I don't know if we need to work on it, because he's out in front of the field right now.
Brother said, I got my own love for you. I'm going to drive away from these boys, and it's so fun to see a young cat leading the race. You got Ryan Truex out in front in the Sandy Relief Fund truck, and right behind him, Justin Lofton chasing.
Guy, remember, that's only his 2nd start ever here in the series.
Pretty impressive, right?
It's the very same truck, guys, that they used to run at Martinsville, and his crew chief, Jason Overstreet, told me this kid gave him great feedback that day, and it's just starting to get a little bit tight on him right now. He He said earlier that the left front was locking up slightly, so he's had to really easy on the brakes whenever he's going into the corners. But overall, very, very happy. And again, the crew chief said this kid gives him such great information. They've been able to really fine-tune on this truck all weekend.
The gap was about 0.6 of a second between he and Justin Lofton. Now that's down to 0.4 of a second. The two of Brendan Gaughan moments ago got into the wall.
You see him out a little bit wide right here. He's going to just try to. He's just going to drive into the corner, off the corner. Made a little contact with the outside wall.
And check him out now. He's hitting the wall. Replay on the right
sideways.
Side. And look, they're going to be 4 wide, and that's James Busher down on the apron.
Busher way down on the apron.
That didn't work out, but he tried to, he wanted to make sure he avoided the accident. Loses a spot there to Joey Coulter.
We see guys go in the dog leg through the apron, but not through 3 and 4. We don't see it.
Not very often. We just saw it, though.
David Mayhew's had an adventurous race. I've seen that truck sideways 2 or 3 times. Last lap, he was down in 3 and 4, and it looked like it about got away from him. There he goes again.
Just 61 laps of racing to go.
Can you believe that? That's how fast things happen. And we had a bunch of cautions after running green for the first 30-some laps.
Battle for the lead is heating up now. Justin Lofton has chased down the 27 of Ryan Truex.
You saw Lofton going way down into that dog leg. They work their way through 3 and 4, back out onto the front stretch. The gap still about 0.2 of a second.
I love races that have differing strategies, and that's what we're seeing right now. Especially in that Truex truck, having to go 90 laps when we said the pit window was 70 to 75. Had some caution flag laps that will help that fuel mileage, but he needs some more caution laps, I believe. And then you got guys inside the top 5 like Brian Scott and just outside Ty Dillon racing for a championship. They're all set to go to the finish.
James Busher right now holds down the 10th spot. Ty Dillon 6th. Ty Dillon, we know, has led this race, so that would be a gain of 5 points if they finish like this. But we have a long way to go, 58 laps to go.
58 still remain from Phoenix International Raceway.
Heck, I'm feeling pretty good from Timothy Peters, too. His strategy worked out perfectly. Came in, topped that thing off with gas, and he sees the leader right out his windshield.
Riding along with the 31 of Busher, taking a different route around this Phoenix International Raceway. Stay with us. Sunday NASCAR race day gets you fired up for Phoenix. Brad Keselowski tells us if this will be the defining race of the chase. And Roger Penske opens up about his determination to take home a first Sprint Cup championship. NASCAR race day fueled by Sunoco. Sunday, noon Eastern, live on Speed. We have a new leader in Phoenix. Justin Lofton has been able to get by that 27 of Ryan Truex. Here's how it happened.
You could see Truex, we reported he was tight. It looked like a little bit loose down into turn 1. Slides up the hill, and watch him split the lap truck of Norm Benning. There goes Truex to the top. Lofton takes advantage of the apron, and when they get down into turn 3, he grabs the lead.
That's going to open up the bottom for Timothy Peters. He's going to jump in here right behind the 6 of Lofton. He's going to make his way by the 27 of Truex as well.
And there's some fast trucks right behind Timothy Peters. You can see Brian Scott has closed all the way up to the tailgate of Timothy Peters, and Kyle Larson and Ty Dillon are both all over Truex.
So now Ryan Truex running in the 4th spot, Ray.
And Rick, if we can get a shot, take a look at the right rear corner. Someone has made contact with the 27, and that right rear bumper cover has come loose on his truck, and he said that's why the rear end is losing grip. He said I could really feel it, and oh, he's going to be in the middle of this one. Mike Harmon goes around.
Whoa, Ryan Blaney got a little bit of a piece of that, and Ty Dillon did an incredible job to avoid it on the outside.
And the caution will come out once again.
Ryan Truex was trying to get under the lap truck. Ran out of room when the truck started going around the outside of him. A little bit of contact with Mike Harmon.
He came on him so quickly.
You could see Larson went high, Truex went low. Made just a tiny bit of contact.
Watch Ty Dillon.
Look at Ryan Blaney. Made a bit of contact as well, but man, he locked it up, didn't he?
He sure did. Watch this now. You see, there's going to be the contact. Look at Ty Dillon. He's right there. with the 74 turning sideways in front of him. He has to turn the wheel to the right, but yet avoids the outside wall.
You know, very rarely does locking it up help you miss a crash, but I don't think Ryan Blaney had any other choice. He got hard on the brakes. There was some contact to the left front, but I believe they put a little tape on that and 4 tires, and he'll still be really competitive. But he definitely slid those tires far enough where they will be flat spotted, and he'll have to fix those, and while he's in the pit, do a little bit of tape work to the nose of that 29 truck.
A little damage to the front end. 23 of Jason White gets the Aaron's lucky dog. Jason White involved in an incident earlier. That will put him back on the lead lap. He'll be the 20th position on the lead lap. Stay with us. More here from Phoenix. For the first time ever, the past and present drivers who captured almost all of Hendrick's Cup victories gather in one place to share personal and never before told stories about the journey of laughter, tragedy, and triumph beyond 200. The Hendrick Motorsports Story. That's Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Speed. Justin Lofton back on pit road in the 6. Justin giving up the 3rd spot to change 4 tires.
I guess he didn't feel like he had what he could. Yeah, he was leading the race.
Yeah, he came in leader and decided to pit, and that's interesting. We talked about Timothy Peters getting enough gas with 90 laps to go, thinking his tires were fine. Lofton maybe just didn't feel like he had a truck to win with, and when you've had a season like Justin Lofton had, wrecked, tore up a few things, you got to do all you can to win, Ray. What are they saying?
Well, Michael, he was loose on entry, and you're right. That's exactly the deal. He just came on the radio saying, we're not going to win this way, so let's go for those tires. His crew chief, Eddie Traconis, said we're going to make you an air pressure adjustment to be ready to go. And also the 29 of Ryan Blaney came in 2 laps ago on 104. He gave up 6th place, and they put on 4 tires. Should be fun to watch these guys come back through the field. Hermie?
Well, Ray, the 3 truck of Ty Dillon coming through the pack. The closer he gets to the front, the better his truck is. They stayed on the racetrack, and they were really happy that they were going to get to restart 5th. The only problem is when Justin Lofton pitted, they moved him up to 4th. So they know this restart right now is very critical for Ty Dillon.
And you know, Brian Scott hasn't done a really good job of getting a start on that outside lane. We talked earlier, Dillon was fast when he would restart up top, and that's who Ty Dillon is going to be behind. So Kyle Larson down on the inside of Dillon, he'll be looking to see if he can follow Timothy Peters through past Scott. And that's just another great run for Kyle Larson. Every time he gets behind the wheel, he impresses.
Guys, we also got to mention the 51 of Armand Quiroga running up in the top 10. You see him right behind the 2 of Brendan Gaughan, doing an awesome job here.
Just outside our point leader, James Busher. So they go 2 by 2 once again. Timothy Peters on the inside, Brian Scott on the outside of row 1, Kyle Larson and Ty Dillon row 2.
Man, this is a fun race. There's so many things going on, differing strategies. The guy leading is going to try to go 90 laps on a tank of gas and 4 Goodyear tires.
42 laps to go. Green flag back in the air at Phoenix. Diving into turn 1.
Ty Dillon goes way wide.
Way up the racetrack. He's going to lose plenty of spots. James Busher will get by him as he works the lower side of the racetrack.
And look at the battle for the lead.
Green light going into turn number 3. Kyle Larson takes the top spot away.
How about that now? Kyle Larson just fresh off the K&N East Championship, going for a truck win.
What about that kid? He knew he needed to be low when he got into turn 3. Heck, he was all the way off the racetrack. Oh!
Around goes Brendan Gaughan. Armand Quiroga got into the back of him. Ty Dillon also involved in this.
We're up here behind those.
Armand Quiroga just ran too deep into turn 1.
Take it easy here in case it's rubbing too hard. Don't blow that tire. We're done. Here.
Ty Dillon says we're done, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of body damage, but I'm not sure they are that done. Looks like the right front tire is not askew.
I think Brendan's upset with Armand Quiroga.
Brendan's going to get out of the truck and voice his displeasure.
I'm not sure Armand's going to understand what he's saying.
Limited amount of opportunities for Brendan Gaughan. Armand Quiroga in the 51 has to sit and listen.
Phil just gave a Shout out to Armand for having that thing up in the top 10. A lot of sheet metal damage to the right side of that 3-truck Hermie, but it didn't look like the wheels were askew. What are they reporting?
Well, right now, Michael, the NASCAR officials are telling them they cannot work on the truck. We're going on a red flag condition, but you're right. I cannot see the right side other than right, just to the right of the, these guys have been told to stop. You know, a lot of damage to the right side. They're going to have to assess the damage. Maybe a little bit of a break for Ty Dillon and his crew to kind of maybe assess the damage of what's going on right around the right side of the headlight on the 3-truck. They can assess the damage, get their parts and pieces together, and come up with a plan of attack to try to get this 3-truck on the racetrack and salvage any hope for this championship.
Hermie, I know you can't see the right side. We're looking at the right side, and I don't see a great deal of damage to that right front suspension from what we can see right here.
And this is indeed, like Hermie reported, a big break for this team because they can understand exactly what they need to do in order to make this truck as good as it can possibly be. The team is surveying the damage. The NASCAR officials, as you see, won't let them go to work, but they can certainly look the truck over.
Imran Quiroga out of the 51 truck. He's going to walk back over to the ambulance and get to the infield care center. Here's what happened.
You can see Quiroga just drives way far down into turn 1 and runs over the back of Brendan Gaughan. And then Ty Dillon just nowhere to go, but pretty hard damage on the right front corner. If it isn't bent, if the toe's not out of whack or some of the suspension bent on that right front, he'll be really fortunate.
Yeah, nothing Brendan can do. Armand Quiroga actually locked the brakes up, got in so hard in the corner, and when he locked the brakes up, then his truck went straight, would not make the corner.
Armand was running in uncharted waters for him. He hadn't been up that far in one of these races very often, and he just messed up and hit Brendan hard.
James Busher dodges yet another bullet and takes one of his point contenders and has trouble.
And it didn't take long for Brendan Gaughan to get to Armand Quiroga and let him voice his displeasure.
Really nowhere for Armand to go, truthfully.
I'm sure Armand's saying, I'm pretty sure I messed up, and this man that is yelling at me confirms that.
So Brendan and Armand both will have to go to the infield care center, be checked out. There's the truck. Armand's already towed back into the infield. They'll have to pull the 2 back into the infield as well. They've put the speed zorb down on the racetrack, and the red flag has come out. They can't work on the 3 until they display the yellow flag.
Adam Alexander in the Speed Center. We have breaking news. Kevin Harvick reportedly going to Stewart-Haas Racing in 2014. We deliver the latest. And when this Camping World Truck Series race in the desert is over, 1 round remains. We recap the event and get a live report from Ray Dunlap. If Brad Keselowski were to win it all, it would be an upset. Bob Dillner goes one-on-one with Bad Brad. It all follows the Camping World Truck Series race from Phoenix right here on Speed.
Thursday, Speed uncovers the real Kurt Busch. Witness an unbelievably candid and personal look at NASCAR's most controversial driver, Kurt Busch, the Outlaw. Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Speed.
Good qualifying effort today for Kurt. It's going to start from the 6th spot in that Furniture Row Chevy.
Still in a red flag condition. The Lucas Oil 150 presented by Lucas Oil. 40 laps of racing to go. In front of the field, young Kyle Larson. Timothy Peters using pit strategy, coming in real early and then deciding to stay out. They can't work on the 3 until the red flag is pulled off and they display the yellow, but right now they're assessing all the damage with the 3 as they pull the 2 on the rollback. And let's hear from Armand Quiroga. He's with Hermie.
Well, Armand is outside of the care center. Glad to see you're okay. Tell us what happened on the racetrack.
Thank you. Well, I want to apologize first of all. I'm not wanted to wreck anybody here. I'm learning, and I think I braked too late and he braked too early, and that's what took us there. And that I just saw the replay, and I couldn't avoid him. I tried, but anyway, I'm very disappointed for my sponsorship for Net 10 Wireless that they have been supporting me for these 4 races, and we'll catch up next time.
after the wreck, Brendan came over to the truck and had some words for you. Could you understand anything that he was trying to say?
Yeah, I was saying just calm down. I really apologize, and that was not what I meant. I'm not here to wreck anybody. I'm here to make friends, and I'm here to compete. We were doing great. I feel so sorry for KBM. They gave me a great truck this night. So I'm very disappointed for myself.
Armand Quiroga out of the Care Center, very disappointed. These are some of the lessons you have to learn when you first start in this Camping World Truck Series, Rick.
Yeah, that was a hard lesson to learn there.
Those are the hardest people to argue with, the ones that agree with you, because like I said, Brendan was really upset and he wanted to argue, but Armand was like, I mess up.
Yeah. I
He
know
was
what you're saying.
apologizing. He was apologizing, I'm sure, while Brendan was yelling. But as a driver, you probably don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear, I'm sorry.
You're right.
Red flag still out at Phoenix International Raceway. Kyle Larson, your leader. Well, race fans, don't miss your chance to see the unpredictable, unforgettable driver tell-all at the NASCAR After the Lap event, November 29th. You never know what to expect when hanging with the drivers in Las Vegas. For info on this deal, check out the Speed Inside Deals page and see how you can save. Speed.com/deals.
This race needed a red flag. It had everything else. It had a long green flag run. It had caution after caution, great battling at the lead, and now a huge crash down in turn one that has unfortunately involved one of the guys that was so passionate about winning this championship. Ty Dillon sits still on pit road.
You said the word passion. There was one driver very passionate after this most recent incident. Let's hear from him. He's the Herbie.
Well, he's smiling at least. Can I ask you if you speak Spanish or not? Or
I am fluent in Spanish, actually, and I did some Spanish earlier. A young man who, the thing in this sport, Hermie, when you and I were born and raised in it, you had a little more respect. And, the kid overdrove. I watched the replay. He overdrove the corner, and he screwed up. I don't know what he said on his interview, but he screwed up. And, I've been in trouble a few times with Joe Balish before, and I'm going to try not to get in trouble with Mr. Balish right now. He's my bodyguard in there right now. Joe's making sure he's watching, listening to what I say, so I don't get in too much trouble. But, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, we had a great run. Our South Point Chevy was going to be top 5 at the worst. Had a chance to win it.
For what it's worth, he did acknowledge that he overdrove the corner and made a mistake, and that didn't help fix your truck, but he did acknowledge that.
Well, at least he's smart enough to know he made a mistake, so that's a start.
That's Brendan Gone out of the Care Center.
Brendan's obviously disappointed. He finished 17th his last time out, but the 4 races before that, he had all top 5 finishes. So he's really fast. Who's in this truck? He thinks he could have won this darn race, and I'm not sure I'd argue with him about that.
Yeah, certainly top 5, as he said.
Exactly, and was battling for a win, and just got clobbered from behind. I know he didn't see that coming, and when that happens so abruptly out of left field like it did, of course you're going to hop out of there mad. And Brendan was very respectful in the interview. Like I said earlier, how do you argue with somebody who won't argue back? Armand said it's my fault.
They're continuing to clean up the racetrack. Again, some fluids put down by both trucks, the 51 and the 2. So they put some speed zorb down. They're cleaning that up. We're still under a red flag condition. The 3 still on pit road.
I think I hear the engines cranking, so stay cranking those engines up, boys.
They let them know that they can fire the engines back up. Kyle Larson out in front of the field 1 week ago at Rockingham Speedway. He was celebrating in front of the grandstands there as he had just won his first K&N Pro Series East Championship.
Been quite a year for Kyle Larson. Look at that K&N highlight. The highlight of it, obviously, winning the championship in the K&N Pro Series East division.
You can catch him on Wind Tunnel Sunday night. It will air right after the Hendrick Motorsports special.
Beyond 200 with Hendrick Motorsports. And Kyle Larson rolling once again. That means they'll be going to work on the 3 of Ty Dillon right in the championship hunt. James Busher still out on the track.
I believe this Kyle Larson kid, somebody we're going to talk about for many years to come. And it's fun to see somebody new in town.
Right when they went to yellow, that's what happened. They went to work.
Well, I'm okay with all the work on the sheet metal, but I think Ty was a little bit concerned about his steering wheel, and that means the toe is askew. The body's in decent shape by the time they get the tape on it. Be interesting to see if this Richard Childress Racing team can make repairs to that front end so he can be competitive.
There's Marcus Richmond right there, and Pop.
RC.
Yeah, the bad news was we were eavesdropping on Ty's radio and he said his steering wheel was off, which means your toe is off.
One good thing about the damage on the right front when it's caved in like that is a truck travels in the corner, the body goes away from the tire, so he'll get some relief there.
Ray, what's the Ford team talking about?
Well, Mike Hillman Jr. is crew chief in this truck this weekend, and you guys last pitted on 71. You got enough fuel to go the distance?
We're pretty close. We're within a lap right now, so I think we're going to be okay. We'll probably get another caution, then we'll be plenty good. We're just worried about the green-white checkered right now. This Turner Motorsports Silverado is really good. I'm just really proud of all these guys. Everybody puts a lot of extra effort in when we run a fourth truck, so everybody at the shop, everybody that's here with me, I really appreciate all their hard work.
We've heard a lot about this young driver. Obviously, he won the championship. What's your impression so far and the chances you've had to work with him?
He's pretty awesome. I think he's doing pretty good tonight.
Okay, I think he's right.
I like that. He's okay tonight. Yeah. Man, what a move he made to get the lead, too. 3 wide down on the bottom going into turn 3, drove off the track and emerged with the top spot.
Back to yellow flag condition. 39 laps remain here at Phoenix. 2x2 once again.
What will we see next?
Kyle Larson, Timothy Peters. They make up row number 1. We heard a little radio chatter between Kyle Larson and his spotter letting him know where the restart zone was. This will be the first time he's brought the field to the green flag. And green flag back in the air. 36 laps to go.
Pretty darn good restart for Kyle Larson. How about Brian Scott now? He's going to take advantage of that inside and get by Timothy Peters.
Timothy Peters had to check up just a bit. Now trying to work down to the lower line as they work their way through the dog leg on the back stretch and into 3.
How about James Busher, our championship leader on the inside of Ryan Sieg. Great run for Ryan Sieg here, running up in the top 5.
Yeah, he's been strong. I've watched him battle back and forth with some trucks inside the top 10. Now he's all the way up inside the top 5. Nelson Piquet Jr.'s been in a crash.
A hard crash.
And he's battling inside the top 10. David Mayhew's been sideways about as much as he's been straight down off the racetrack on the back straightaway trying to grab a spot.
He does get a spot, moves him up into the 10th spot.
Kyle Larson with 0.4 of a second in front of Brian Scott. Those two are 1 and 2. And Timothy Peters, Joey Coulter, Ryan Sieg, your top 5.
I just really like this Brian Scott truck. Liked it all night long. He's really fast. He's obviously experienced enough to be patient through all this havoc that's taken place. And now he finds himself right on the tailgate of our leader, Kyle Larson.
He was the fastest truck on the racetrack the last lap. We'll see what it looks like this lap. Kyle Larson, the fastest truck on the racetrack that lap, by just a couple hundredths of a second over that 18 truck of Brian Scott.
That was his fastest lap of the whole race.
Well,
right
heck
Kyle
yeah.
Larson.
Good time to do it, huh?
Got some clean air. Experienced cat like Brian Scott right behind you in Kyle Busch Motorsports truck. You better go, right?
Kyle Larson only 2 wins in the K&N Pro Series East and looking to make it his first win in the Camping World Truck Series. If he can hold off Brian Scott in the field here at Phoenix.
James Busher looking down on the inside of Ryan Sieg for that 5th spot.
It's way down on the inside.
Busher's going to give plenty of room to Sieg and grab that 5th spot. I love when what we're seeing. Oh!
Ryan Sieg the crossover.
Slides up the hill. I love what we're seeing tonight. Ryan Truex up toward the front. Kyle Larson. We've already had a record this year for first-time winners.
8.
And
Could we have 9?
And look at all the guys we have running toward the front tonight.
Ooh, Piquet got loose. Had to chase it up the hill. Ryan Truex gave him some room. That opens up the bottom.
Cale Gale's going to take advantage of that opening.
Cale Gale jumped all the way to the apron as he's running in the 10th spot.
Ooh, Mayhew got loose again, Michael, underneath Ryan Truex.
He's a highlight reel in himself. As many times as he saved that 19 truck tonight. And here comes Justin Lofton. We saw Lofton on pit road because he thought he needed some adjustments if he was going to win this race. But Phil, all the way back in the 9th, 10th, 11th spot, racing along there, he can't get back to where he was when he pitted.
He might need a little help with a caution or two.
Riding along with Miguel Paludo.
Another guy that's been in a crash, Rick, and he's racing just outside the top 10. You know, these guys, They can run into stuff better than I used to could. They run into things and still race for wins and race for top 10 finishes. Heck, I thought PK Jr. was done for the night after his crash. He's solidly in the top 10.
Kyle Larson has about a 0.4 of a second lead over Brian Scott, looking very strong in front of the field.
Truck's pretty evenly matched right now. They're trading the fastest lap on the race. That time it was Brian Scott by a whole 2/1000ths of a second over Kyle Larson.
And you know how hungry Brian Scott is. It's been a while since he's been to victory lane. Hasn't been a great season for him driving in the Nationwide Series or frequently in the Truck Series. But he can taste this victory now.
And not sure what his future will hold.
Exactly. And, you know, I talk about he could taste this victory. That young man, Kyle Larson, he doesn't know what it's like to win one of these babies. He wants to really bad. But think about Brian Scott. It's been over a year or two since he's been to victory lane, and he's going for the lead.
On the inside, Brian Scott trying to take the top spot away from Kyle Larson. They work side by side.
Oh, Larson jives down into turn 3 to mess Brian Scott's entry up. I think Brian assumed maybe Larson would give him that corner when they got there. Kyle drove it deep down in the turn. Like I said, sometimes what you don't know won't hurt you, and Kyle knew he wasn't ready to give up the lead. Drove in there and made it work.
They had been running almost identical lap times, and all of a sudden Brian was almost 0.2 of a second faster. That gave him the momentum to get up beside Larson, but Larson said, I'm going to drive it down in turn number 3.
That was a pretty good run by Brian Scott. Ray, are they feeling pretty comfortable at this truck?
Yeah, he likes his truck, Rick. I'll tell you, it's been 22 races that Brian has entered since he got that last big win at Dover in 2009, but the truck he's driving tonight, they call 007. Kyle used it to win a race right here. He also won with it at New Hampshire, and Denny Hamlin won with this truck at Martinsville, so they know the piece is good. Brian just said, I'm going to flip my brake fans on and get ready for another run. He said, make sure you tell me when it's 15 to go.
So he's got about 10 laps before that happens. We have 25 to go. Now 24 as they've crossed the stripe. Kyle Larson now with a 0.3 of a second lead over Brian Scott.
Brian slowly creeping back up on Kyle Larson. About a 0.5 faster than the last lap.
So the brake fans, he's adjusting the fans now as far as trying to get ready for a run.
Well, there's brake fans and there's also fans to each of the wheels. They can blow air on a tire to keep it cooler. So he's just trying to figure out what he needs to do from the driver's seat to adjust do everything he can to make the truck as good as it can be. I like what he asked his spotter and his crew chief. Tell me when there's 15 to go so I can really get serious about grabbing this lead. He thought he was going to drive right around Kyle Larson and win this race. Obviously, Larson had other plans, and that was a fun little exchange there. And now I think Brian Scott's going to have to roll up those sleeves if he thinks he's going to do something with this kid that just won the K&N East Series championship.
Nelson Piquet Jr. all over the back bumper of K.O. Gale.
They've both been in a crash, by the way.
Both have been involved in incidents, and now they're running 8th and 9th on the racetrack.
The truck right in front of them, Ryan Blaney, also involved in an accident.
Slow on the racetrack, you see a modified number 7 of Parker Kligerman.
Trying to collect the points now. He's fallen in the clutches of Joey Coulter. Joey was 5th coming in here. Now, with the trouble that Parker has had, let's move Joey as they run up to the 4th position.
As they're running on the track, Buescher has a 22-point lead over Timothy Peters, who's moved up into the 2nd spot in our championship hunt.
Yeah, Ty Dillon having some issues, obviously, with that damaged truck. He's back in the 17th position.
Yeah, and he can't run much more than about a 1.5 seconds off the pace of the leader. So obviously he'll go a lap down soon, and if there isn't a caution, they won't have a chance to improve that truck. I believe he'll lose more points than he has already. Started the race 15 points down. Now he's 26 behind.
Gap closed once again between our top two, Kyle Larson and Brian Scott. 19 to go when they cross the stripe. Mayhew to the inside, trying to get by that 6th of Justin Lofton.
It's a battle for the 11th position. Those trucks awfully close together. You see Mayhew struggling to control that truck.
That's something we've seen all night long. He's had a real rough night, but David Mayhew, the experienced veteran driver that he is, has been able to keep that thing heading in the right direction for the most part, and now he's trying to battle for a top 10 position.
Does it hard down in turn number 3. He's able to clear Justin. Justin's going to try to fight back on the inside, but David didn't leave him any room down there.
Mayhew's got that 11th spot. Lofton drops back to 12. Now Lofton looking to the inside once again, tries to take the spot back. And Lofton will take the position back from Mayhew, so Lofton back to 11.
Talked about Ty Dillon falling into the clutches of the leaders, going a lap down. That's exactly what happens there. All he can do is watch as Kyle Larson and Brian Scott drive away from him.
We're getting close to that 15 lap to go magic number. We have 17 to go. It'll be 16 to go when they get back to the start-finish line right here.
Brian Scott, the gap, 0.2 of a second last time by between Larson and Scott. This time it was 0.3 of a second.
You know, when Brian Scott gets a chance to drive for a great driver like Kyle Busch, he wants to put that truck in victory lane for him so bad. That truck hasn't won this year, but it's been a winner in the past, and Brian wants to be the one that puts it back into victory lane.
A little steam coming out of the overflow of the 23 for Jason White. Also has been involved in an incident.
And Jason soldiering along in the 18th position.
Your top 10, Larson, Scott, Peters, Coulter, Buescher, Ryan Sieg, Ryan Blaney, Cale Gale, Nelson Piquet Jr., and Ryan Truex.
Well, boys, there's 15 to go.
Maybe Kyle Larson said there's 15 to go, and it's time for me to get up on the wheel and go a little harder.
I like this. I like the job this young man's doing. That move he made to keep the lead from Brian Scott on the outside after we've seen so many people struggle up there. Not only did he keep the lead, but he's been able to change his line a little bit, adjust that truck to where he hasn't received another challenge from Scott.
And we set a new record this year with 8 first-time winners. We could smash that old record of 7 with a 9th here.
And different winners. You've got Kyle Larson and Brian Scott. Neither have been to victory lane this year, so it would be another record that we would break. Lofton all over the back bumper of Ryan Truex now.
That's a battle for the 10th position. Ryan Truex has it. Justin Lofton wants it.
Remember, Lofton was leading when he pitted after a lot of the trucks had already made their final pit stops. He lost all his track position and has fallen outside the top 10 and not able to get back inside of it, but is battling for that spot now with Ryan Truex.
Pretty abrupt change there as they try to go through the dog leg, cut that dog leg off. Still right on the back bumper of the 27 is the 6 of Lofton. 12 laps of racing to go. The gap almost a half a second between Kyle Larson and Brian Scott, running 1 and 2.
There they are. Larson holding off Brian Scott. You know, looking in that mirror, watching that yellow truck behind him, but yet not making any mistakes, keeping his truck right in the groove it needs to be. And we've talked about this all night, Phil. You get a little bit high out of the groove, you're going to lose momentum, and that lead will be gone. But this kid has been bulletproof so far.
He is not easily rattled. This is close to the 120th race that he has raced this year.
There's what he's looking for. We're inside 10 to go. There was going to be a charge with 15 from the 18 truck, and Kyle Larson hasn't seen it yet.
Looks like Brian Scott getting into turn 1 a little bit better than the 4, but the 4 of Kyle Larson definitely getting off of 2 faster than Brian Scott. That time we saw Larson go down onto the apron.
He likes that apron. That's how he got the lead down on the apron. So using every inch of asphalt.
Battle for 5th on the right side. Not so much of a battle as James Buescher falls into position just behind that 39. Great run for Ryan Sieg.
Yeah, he certainly is. And James Buescher right now is a little bit off the pace. You see the bottom open up for Ryan Blaney. He's not going to fight too hard knowing that he's in the driver's seat for this championship, but he doesn't want to lose too many more positions.
Yeah, Timothy Peters now, as they run on the track, is closed within 21 points of our point leader, James Buescher. So you don't like seeing those guys going by late in the going.
And Buescher just went by the 3 of Ty Dillon. I'm sure that he wasn't expecting that to happen, but because of the issues that Ty Dillon has had, Buescher has now put Dillon a lap down, at least behind him.
That's why you never take anything for granted in this sport. Ty Dillon was having a great run. He'd started in the back, fought his way to the front, but got involved in a crash.
Hermie, are there issues with the 31 right now?
Well, Rick, the truck is getting tighter and tighter the longer they run, and they wasn't really expecting the 39 and the 29 to put that kind of pressure on them with less than 10 laps to go. But they are championship racing. They're just saying, let's just ride this one out, get to the finish. It'll be a decent points night. But the 31 truck struggling with a tight condition.
And Timothy Peters solidly up in the 3rd spot. So a couple of the championship contenders fell out of contention tonight, but Timothy Peters isn't going to give up yet.
Brake rotor glowing red on that 31 of James Busher as we're down to under 6 laps of racing to go. There's the distance between 1 and 2. Lofton able to get by Ryan Truex. He has issues in the 27, has to go up the track.
Might have been a little bit of contact as they enter turn number 3.
Ryan's bumper sure looks like there's been some contact, hasn't there? Wow, that's aggressive.
I think Lofton really wanted that spot.
I'm sure Ryan Truex wanted it too.
Here's the race for the lead. Slower lap truck potentially coming into play. Matt Merrill in the 35. The 4 has to slow down as they have just 5 laps of racing to go.
You know, Kyle Larson has really worked traffic extremely well. Bad break right there for Brian Scott. Not able to get to the bottom. Had to wait on Matt Merrill for just an instant.
Yeah, but good run for Merrill. He's running inside the top 15. So got an Aaron's lucky dog early in the going and has been able to stay in the top 15.
That is the first time he's been a lap down. So Matt Merrill, a strong run here.
You see the gap now. What that time it cost Brian Scott down there in the middle of the corner. That gave about 2 or 3 more truck lengths to that 4 of Kyle Larson as Mike Hillman Jr. looks on.
Pretty good night, pretty good year for Turner Motorsports.
Yes.
Looking like a really good night for them.
Yeah, and I'm sure Mike Hillman Jr., he's been around long enough. He knows that nothing is over until the checkered flag flies, but almost looks like he's trying to hide a smile right now. How impressed he is with this young man. 20-year-old Kyle Larson out in front.
Oh, caution on the racetrack.
And Busher has issues. Your point leader into the wall. The right front tire goes down on James Busher.
Come to us.
It was a pretty good night for Turner Motorsports.
Sure was. Wow, look at the damage to that X-side Chevrolet.
The right front not even turning on that 31.
We talked about the pressure of being the point leader. He had 15 points over the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, just 20-some behind. If he just survives to the finish, those guys are out of it. Now he's going to welcome Timothy Peters, definitely up in the middle of this baby, and maybe even Ty Dillon. I don't know if this truck can keep going or not.
It may not, but right now the 20th place truck is 9 laps down. Even though we may go overtime, I don't think we'll go that far. So he's still going to end up, even if he's done now, he's going to end up with a top 20. And Ty's probably not much more than about, at best, a 14th, 15th place truck.
Let's ride along and listen with the 31 as this took place. And Mike Hillman Jr., again, I talked about you just never know what's going to happen. Well, a caution comes out with 3 to go.
Yeah, doubly for him. Obviously, that's a teammate at Turner Motorsports, and now they're going to have to withstand another restart. Wow.
Hermie.
A lot of damage, obviously, to the 31, and speculation as to what happened. They've been talking all night long about the 31 truck. The brake rotors on the front of his truck had been glowing all night, so speculation right now is they probably melted the bead on a right front tire, causing him to make contact with the wall. But heavy damage to the right side of this 31 truck.
Is that right front wheel even going to turn?
Well, it was on fire. They put the right front on there, and now they're going to work on the 3 of Ty Dillon. Again, every point is going to matter in this championship, and Ty Dillon trying to get every point he can now that he sees his closest competitor and the point leader on pit road with as much damage as they have.
Guys, two minutes ago we said, well, James Busher's going to be in the driver's seat when we go to Homestead. He's going to have a pretty significant lead. Timothy Peters is going to gain some ground, but now that brings Timothy Peters and Ty Dillon back in this fight.
That's exactly right, because Dillon is going to potentially gain on Busher as well. I can't believe that right front wheel's even spinning there. Looked like it was a lot more heavily damaged, but that truck won't go. He can't maintain pace. There's a couple of green light checkers that could cost him more than if it's just one.
You see all the smoke from the tires rubbing. Let's think about another thing. Kyle Larson, our leader, pitted back on lap number 71. That means he had to go 79 laps. Now we're going overtime.
What about our third place truck and points championships points contender, Timothy Peters? He's pitted 8 laps before that, Bill.
What are you hearing down there, Ray?
Now they're really worried about going green, white, checker, guy. They don't think they've got enough fuel here. They said 1 maybe. If we have to go 2, there's no chance.
Well, I wouldn't count on only being 1 with these guys up here hungry for a win.
You know Brian Scott's hungry. He has the most fuel of this group. He came on 75. Larson again on 71. Timothy Peters on 63.
Man, this is drama. Do we have enough gas? What's going to happen to our championship contenders?
And let's get a good restart, by the way.
Let's take a look. Points as they run. 10 points difference between Buescher and Peters. 13 to Ty Dillon. 3 to go. 2 when they get to the stripe. Green flag back in the air.
Contact. Brian Scott's leaning on Kyle Larson.
Larson dives into turn 1. Side by side. Here comes Brian Scott on the high side. He'll take the lead as they come out of 2.
What a great job by Brian Scott. What a veteran move by him.
Yeah, he had a couple of runs on the outside on restarts. Wasn't able to get it done, but when it counted, baby, he got it done.
Brian Scott, when he comes around this time, if he sees the white flag and gets to it, next flag will determine the race winner.
Joey Coulter's been able to get around Timothy Peters for the 3rd spot.
Kyle Larson come back, reel in that 18. Not enough time, too much distance. Kyle Larson running second, a very impressive performance tonight. But in the end, Brian Scott coming through 3 and 4. Out of turn number 4, second career win in the Truck Series. Brian Scott wins at Phoenix. The team celebrating. We talked about the 18 owned by Kyle Busch Motorsports. Hadn't been to victory lane yet.
Thank you.
Let's go on their time.
Rick, awesome job, everybody. Great job, everybody. Way to dig Brian Scott on that restart.
Rick Wren, we heard Kyle Busch say, "You're the man."
Yeah, what a great night for that team. Great job for Brian Scott. Uncertain of what his future is, but man, when the money was on the line, he dug down deep inside and made a perfect restart and passed for the lead on the outside here at Phoenix.
Fireworks in the air. We saw fireworks on the track tonight, especially in our championship battle. Brian Scott's going to begin his celebration. Mile racetrack's working out for that young man. He goes to victory lane. Kyle Larson, a very strong performance, finishes second tonight. And welcome back to Phoenix International Raceway. The fireworks continuing off the back stretch here. And celebration continuing for the 18 team and Brian Scott. One person a little bit disappointed, I'm sure, with the finish of this one. Second place, Kyle Larson. He's with Hermie.
Thinking that should be you out there, right? A heck of a run. Restart got you at the end. Tell us about your night leading up to that final restart.
Yeah, I was really down on myself in the beginning. I really felt like I lost a bunch of spots there, and Mike Hillman Jr. made a great call to come in and get 4 there when nobody else did and fill up on fuel and got us a bunch of track position and, you know, kind of put us up in this situation. And, man, I had him beat there in that green flag run. We got a restart there, and he took the air off of me getting into 1, and I got loose. And he just worked momentum around me, but you know, second's not bad on my 3rd truck start. So hopefully we go to Homestead next week and get a win for these Turner guys and Chip Ganassi Racing and everybody that helps out.
Very impressive effort for Kyle Larson. He comes up second.
10th, 6th, and 2nd for Kyle Larson in his 3 starts. We go to victory lane. And that is Brian Scott about to climb out, right?
Here he comes. He's got a Sunoco flag. He gets a Gatorade bat. It's been a little while, but the wait may have been worth it. Tell you what, they said let you know when it was 15 to go. They did, and it all worked out. What an amazing day here at Phoenix. There was a lot of ups and downs.
Well, I guess it's only fitting that we get the lead back when we lost it under caution. I just got to thank everybody. Dollar General's been with me all year. I made them a promise at the beginning of the year that I'd get them in victory lane. I did, and because I did, everybody gets 20% off Monday on dollargeneral.com. I just got to thank everybody that's on this team, this KBM team, Toyota, M&M's, Flexco, Shore Lodge, joinabs.com, Camping World, of course, for a great Camping World Truck Series. Man, I miss this series. This series is a lot of fun. So glad I got to come back here, run it, and win at Phoenix, which is about as close to a home race as it gets. This is awesome. Thank all the fans for coming out and sitting through it. Now it's raining. This is just awesome. Thank you, everybody. My family, my dad, especially Dad, Mom, I love you guys. Thank you for everything you've done.
Congratulations, Brian. How about this, folks? The 15th different winner in 2012 right here in the Camping World Truck Series. That's a brand new record, guys.
15 different winners in a season. Brian Scott adding his name to that list as he celebrates in Victory Lane. We'll be back to talk championship right after this. Welcome back to Phoenix International Raceway, the Lucas Oil 150 presented by Lucas Oil, now in the books. There's only one race remaining. We want to take a look at our Ram Guts and Glory. What a gutty performance by Brian Scott and Kyle Larson.
Watch this. I thought he had the pass made and the race won, but look at the move that Larson makes on the outside. He dives down into turn 3. I think Brian Scott said, where did that come from?
And he got loose. You see him have to chase the truck up the hill, but he persevered. He got one more shot at it, and this is it right here.
And if at first you don't succeed, you got to keep trying. He couldn't get it done on the bottom of the racetrack, so he goes around the outside of Kyle Larson.
On that restart. And, of course, with the guts come the glory. Into Victory Lane goes Brian Scott.
Congratulations to Dollar General. What a great sponsor in NASCAR. It's cool to see Dollar General in Victory Lane.
We talked championship. What did this do for our championship battle? We hear from one of the championship contenders with Hermie.
Well, looking at the right side of this truck, it's hard to believe you ever got this thing back to pit road after the race. Looked like you're having a decent points night. Blew the right front tire. It would look like. Any warning at all?
No warning. We gave up a couple spots. The truck just kept getting tighter the last 25 laps or so. Fell back to 7th, and then I started pushing a little harder to try to stay 7th and not lose more spots before the end of the race. And I guess we melted a bead or something on the right front, but always something. So we'll go to Homestead. I guess we're still leading the points, and we had a good run going for Exide and for Turner Order of Eagles. Great clips, everybody that helps this team out, and we'll just go to Homestead.
Try it again. James Busher is going to Homestead with an 11-point lead.
Yeah, we want to take a look at our Ford point standings with one race to go in the 2012 season. Busher an 11-point lead over Peters, and Ty Dillon drops back to 3rd, 12 points back.
We talked about the very top of the show that just an average, a mediocre day by James Busher would bring some people back into it. It certainly brought Timothy Peters into it. Ty Dillon had his own issues, only finished a couple spots better than Busher, but he ends up gaining 3 points because he led, so now he's within 12 points.
Let's also hear from Ty Dillon. He's with Hermie.
Well, Ty Dillon, after all that, first of all, tell us about your night, but you're only 12 points back after all that, headed to Homestead.
It's just a little bit disappointing. It ended up all right for us, but we had a rocket ship, man. We took off, got to the front, led some laps there, and I made a mistake and got a little hot when we were 4th on that restart. And got us behind back there in the pack. When you get back there with those guys and you don't have the track position, stupid things happen that really shouldn't happen. And I can't say much, but I hate it took out our teammate. I hate it took us out. But we kept fighting. My guys are tough, and we're not giving up. Our Bass Pro Shop Chevys have been faster and faster, and I think we got a lot of momentum on these guys. They seem to be falling back a little bit. If we can just get this bad luck out of us, we got fast trucks, and we're really grooving as a team right now. We're just going to Homestead and fight with all we got and see what the Lord gives us.
That's Ty Dillon, an up-and-down night, but still in the hunt for the championship.
12 points, 12 positions separate 3 guys when we go to Homestead.
Yeah, James Busher, if he finishes 7th or better, the championship's his. But as you saw tonight, he was running 7th late in the race, having to push it hard to stay in 7th. And we had a lot of attrition tonight. Finishing 7th in one of these truck races isn't easy. I'm so happy for our sake. We've got such a great championship battle heading to Miami, but these guys all have to be thinking, what if after tonight?
Oh, yeah, and the 2 guys chasing him right now, Timothy Peters and Ty Dillon, they can go to Homestead and dominate and lead the most laps. So James Busher's going to have a pretty good weekend next weekend to win this thing.
There's Rick Dreiling, the president and CEO of Dollar General, enjoying the spoils of Victory Lane. It's nice when you get to win when your sponsors are in town, and they are here for Kyle Busch Motorsports. Pretty good day for Kyle Busch, huh? Pole for the Cup race, big win tonight in the truck race.
Big smiles from Brian Scott grabbing his second win in the Camping World Truck Series. But it was hard fought to get there. Not an easy task when you run in the Camping World Truck Series sparingly. But we had a lot of carnage on the racetrack. In the end, it was a dominant restart by the 18 of Brian Scott, grabbing the victory here at Phoenix International Raceway.